Let me check it.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, it looks like it's live.
All right. What's up, people? There's nobody here yet, but let's give some time. I wish I knew how many South Africans watch it live, because I know it's usually people in the States. And right now, at this hour, dudes just got up for breakfast.
Yeah, time zones are a crazy thing. You know, every time I think about them, I'm like, damn, that's crazy.
The world is big and round, not flat
Tell that,
and
tell
linear.
that to this.
Those people are crazy, bro. It's just another psyop. I'm telling you, like, legit, almost everything's a damn psyop, man.
Yeah, I can't believe how they fell for that, bro.
Dudes on a flipping airplane, flying, seeing the curve, be like, it's flat. I'm like, bruh, what drugs are you on? Hi, Chihuahua. But all right. So this Lisa photo here is her trying to put some, and it's relevant to the topic, love, right? And you know what they say, when women put makeup on or lipstick, it's because she trying to, run game on somebody.
Yeah, seduction game.
Wow, there's like, is this? Oh, it is public. I thought it was private. Nah, wait, something's wrong.
With what?
This thing is saying there's no data being received. The network is experiencing a problem. Let me switch internet. I'm gonna do a hotspot.
Alright.
Oh wait, the data's back, but I don't trust on a hotspot.
Yeah, internet is tricky these days, yo.
Man, they messing with it, bro. Like,
I've also been having problems with it, honestly.
it's a worldwide problem. Yesterday, Cloudflare, the giant server that hosts Twitter and a bunch of other websites, went down for a couple of hours.
That's crazy. I'm sure the internet was going crazy.
Yeah. Hello? Bro, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, yeah. The connection is fine now.
Did you switch it to the hotspot?
Yeah, I did.
Alright, nice.
Alright, y'all, what's up? We're back here with Pierce, and today we're going to be talking about, is love and romance accurate in manga? Why are we talking about this? Because I had some revelations. What's up, Olaf? You just got up, I'm sure, right? Time to go to that job. So let's start with you, man. Like, you like romance, right? And I am here to completely obliterate the idea of romance and how it's a psyop. It put us in great anguish over the centuries, right? Because we pursued it and there was just nothing there. So tell us your understanding of romance and why you like it so much.
Well, like, I would say that romance my understanding of it, in my head, I would say it's very nuanced, unlike the public perception of the idea of romance, where people just think it's two people, male and female, trying to have a kid, right, or just trying to like get laid, right? People think romance is just being in a romantic relationship with someone. I think that is like not even surface level. It's just something in the air. Haven't even touched the surface yet, right? I think romance and love are not interchangeably, right? They're not. You can't just switch those words around and they mean the same thing, right? But if I were to break it down, I would say I would have to use an example. Like you can say I am in love with medieval stuff, right? That doesn't mean I want to bang medieval stuff, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So same thing with romance. You can make a case about how my affection to medieval stuff, I am sort of romanticizing it, right? Like I'm saying I want to be there, I want to live there, I want to smell the air that's filled with TP that could kill me at any second, right? You can say that, yo, this guy's romanticizing the medieval times, not taking into consideration all the negative stuff, right? Romance is, I feel like, lingers in almost everything that we think about, that we dream about. Not everyone is dreaming about having sex with someone.
Okay.
So I believe that like love and romance isn't as simple as I love you to a girl or I love you from a girl to a guy. I think it's much more deeper than that. I think it's an emotion that has not been really delved deep into, especially in media, like because what we know of romance is rom-coms, right? Romantic comedies or books that talk about guys wanting to bone girls and stuff like that, but really sometimes it's not even about that. I feel like that's why most of us don't understand what love or romance is. But to some people, the surface level is enough. That's like not everyone seeks that depth. For some people, the surface level stuff is enough. I love you, you love me, we're in love. That's it. Sometimes you're supposed to be longing, yearning. You have to love something that's not there, something that's not tangible, something that is an idea, a concept, right? Me personally, I'm in love with the concept of death. I very much romanticize death. Not as in like I want to die or I'm suicidal or anything like that. No, no, no. Like I see it in the way I write stories. Like I write so many stories around death. Like I'm writing a story about zombification. I'm dancing with the idea of death, writing a zombification story, right? Another one is like killing nature, right? Killing the ecosystem. That's also death of life, just not just human life, but like life in general, nature. So all these things are just broader concepts of death, right? And I'm romanticizing that because that's something, a concept that I like to play around with when I'm writing. So does that answer your question, or you want me to explain further, or do you want me to just talk about like romance and love in terms of relationships?
Well, no, that was a good foundation in terms of romance is not always just about human relationships, but it can be looked at in that way as well. That in a way you are creating idealism about anything, not just the ideal interpersonal relationship that a man and a female can have. So that's a good foundation. But what we're trying to do here is that we're trying to capture the interpersonal relationships between man and female. That's why the thumbnail is Ichigo and Orihime, doing what they're doing. So yeah, and we're looking at manga as an example because nobody reads American comics like that anyway. And I gotta say, Papa Mendes also mentioned that Lois Lane and Superman are not a good match, right? They're not a good match. Would you agree?
You have to elaborate on that first before I agree or disagree. What do
Okay,
you mean they're not a good match?
Lois Lane is a feminist, basically. She's your typical career driven woman that doesn't need no man, that she's all about her career. And many times she's able to like stand up to Superman in a superficial way. It's as if she's just a propaganda tool to show her that here's Superman, the alpha of alpha males, and Lois Lane doesn't have to be submissive to him. Sometimes Clark can take the L type thing. I find it disrespectful to Superman because like this guy can bench press the planet, and you, who writes newspapers, for some reason, you feel equal to him. You're not gonna wake up and be like, "Hey, Clark, I know you just saved the world again. Here's some pancakes." No, hey, Clark, I'm going to work. If you're hungry, you can make something by yourself in the kitchen. Like, woman, what? You know? So that's why I'm saying it's not a good match because Lois does not appreciate Superman. Lois behaves like she doesn't need Superman. When we all know she does, the whole world needs Superman. But she always presents herself or she is presented like she doesn't need him. Right? And he needs to always, well, pretend like, yeah, she doesn't need me. Right? So that's why I'm saying they're not a good match.
Do you think in a relationship the guy always has to be needed?
Well, you see, in the world we live in now, this is why that's why I spoke once about social evolution. Us humans are evolving right now. Men, my generation, your generation, for the longest time, you serve a function, an intrinsic function, if there is this feeling of being needed, right? And when you fulfill this need for your existence, it serves that function for your psychology as a man, right? Being built a certain way as a man, you're built to endure things differently, right? For longer periods of time. You're built to be more self sacrificing in a way. But you can't just sacrifice if nobody needs your sacrifice, right? You can't. So, for since the beginning of time, men have needed to be needed. Now we live in a world where, well, you're not needed anymore because, well, the women have big daddy government to help them out, and they can be in student loan debt, $400,000 in debt, and they don't go to jail. If they do look for a guy, the first thing they want to ask how much you make. What's that for? So he can pay off the debt. Right? So when we look at it in the context of today, men are having a problem with the fact that they're no longer needed. So, yeah.
For sure. No, I agree with the fact that we live in a civilization that doesn't need men anymore, and they are dealing with that right now. It's crazy. So you think they're not a good match because Lois doesn't need Superman and she stands up to him?
Yeah.
Okay.
They are not.
Personally, I don't think that's a problem. I think, does she stand up to Super? I don't understand what you mean by like, because the way you're describing it, you're making it as if Lois is dating the Superman that's saving everybody, that's like strong as everything, and fighting Darkseid and stuff. But I've always viewed their relationship as like when Clark goes home to Lois, like he's just Clark, he's not Superman anymore. And I've always viewed it like that. Maybe it's because I've seen Smallville too many times.
Well, regardless, right? She knows Clark is Superman, right?
Yeah.
And if you know Clark is Superman, there has to be a certain way you treat him. You know, the way Lois treats Clark, it's how she would treat any other guy working at the gas station, right? There is no respect for who he is and what he is, right? And that's another thing in which people don't know what respect looks like, right? They don't know what respect looks like. I'm not saying get on your knees and say, "Oh, hail great Clark Kent, for he is the savior of the universe." You don't have to be in that level of reverence, right? That's worship at that point. But
True.
there
Get
is
it?
some form of reverence for the fact that this guy is saving the world on a daily basis. So you can't
Mhm.
really have an exchange with him as if you have an exchange with Jimmy Olsen. Like, think about that. Lois talks to Jimmy the same way he talks to Clark. The same way she talks to Lex is the same way she talks to Clark. There needs to be a difference, but there isn't one. And people can,
Nah,
uh huh.
that's true. That's true. Like now that I'm looking at it, because I was gonna say like that's her character. Like her character is the type that's like, yeah, I'm gonna say whatever I want because she treats everybody in the comic like that. Like she treats Perry like that, Jimmy like that, everybody like that. She treats like I'm sure she would treat Darkseid even the same way, bro. Like she's just that kind of boss girl type character, you know.
Exactly, and that is a problem because that's not a proper display of affection with somebody you're intimate with, right? If you're gonna treat your boss like some guy down the street, Perry, you're gonna treat Jimmy the same way you treat Clark. Even Darkseid, bro. This Lois Lane has always been a psyop type character, right? Crowbarred in the Superman lore to make it to normalize this behavior. It ain't normal, right? It ain't normal. It ain't right. Now a lot of people say no, it's normal now. It is normal now, but how do you feel about it, right? How do you feel? I don't know if you guys heard about this Indian comedian guy Akash Singh, right?
That news is like that guy's being dragged by his girl, bro.
Exactly, bruh. You see, she talks to him the same way she talks to everybody else. Now, he's definitely a sissy boy. It's like, whatever, dude. You're an idiot. Like, what do you expect? What did you think was going to happen when you pick somebody like this? So, I don't feel sorry for him, but it's just an example here that when you normalize this behavior or see it as normal, adequate, or whatever, well, it gets to this extreme that we have with Akash, you see. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, that guy. I don't know, bro. I don't feel sorry for him either. But like, it is painful to watch.
he can suck it, bro. He ended up buying her a $40,000 ring, and he moved in for the kiss, and she turned to the side. I'm like, yeah, that's what you get for being an idiot, you know. But oh well. Now going back to the topic, using manga as a reference. Now we're asking, romance in manga, are they accurate displays? Now let's talk about Ichigo and Orihime for an example. What do you think about that romance that they got going?
I don't think it's very. I'm not. I don't think it's a great depiction of like Rome. I don't think it's well written, but I think it's good enough. I think I've always been an Orihime and Ichigo guy. I've never seen the whole Rukia and Ichigo thing. I know a lot of people have said that Ichigo has more chemistry with Rukia and stuff. But I always felt like Orihime was the grounding that Ichigo needed in the in a space of like Soul Reapers, Fullbringers, Visors, Quincy's, Hollows, all of this stuff, bro. All of this is happening. I felt like Orihime was always the thing that could, humanize him, right? And I know it's not well written. They don't have a lot of scenes where they're affectionate or whatever. But I do like it. I really like the scene where she was getting taken by Urkiora and she was giving that whole speech about having 5 lives, doing 5 careers and stuff, and in every life she would fall in love with Ishigo. I really liked that speech. And everything around Orihime, I don't think she was ever supposed to be this badass character that everyone wanted her to be, right? But in terms of like the romance between them, I much more prefer that romance over the Rukia one. And I know they don't have a lot of affectionate scenes and stuff, but I do like it. I do like that she's human and she appeals to that part of him that is not as important by the end of the show because he's so many things by then. And I always feel like you need that when you go home, right? You need that grounding. Like we talking about Superman, we just talked about Superman and Lois. I always feel like he doesn't need to wear a cape when he's washing dishes or when he's like watching the game or eating, like or drinking beer. He doesn't need the cape for that. He needs to come home to like like you said, affection and respect, stuff like that, right? You need that homey thingy, homey vibe.
Okay. And you think
Yeah, what do
Orihime
you think?
was the best fit? Well,
I think it was, yeah.
that does make sense. I personally did like a Rukia and Ichigo thing more. Both make sense. They both do make sense for me. But I suppose the thing is, Rukia seems to have a hard shell, but we've seen her softness. We've seen it, so it's there. It's not that if Ichigo were to be with Rukia, there wouldn't be any softness, right? That she would always be treating him like a warrior in battle all the time. Nah,
Hmm.
she got the soft side. Um,
No, that's very accurate actually, because now that you mention it, I'm starting to think about Ruki, and I'm not changing my opinion on Orihime being the best fit, but Rukia, like I'm thinking about that whole backstory with her and that Shiba guy. I forgot his name.
Kaya and
The guy
Shiba,
that was,
yeah.
yeah, that guy, yeah. That whole arc and that really like made Rukia be soft and stuff, because she was very before that point she was very like a hard boss girl type character, but that arc really like brought her down, and also she's got that connection with the Shibas, and Ichigo's also like a Shiba, so I can see a lot of things because I remember my favorite arc in Bleach. I know this is like a hot take, but my favorite arc in Bleach, bro, is the full Bringer arc, right? And in that arc, when by the climax of the arc is when Rukia comes back and she's like stabbing him, right? And he doesn't know that the stab's gonna give him the powers, and he's crying. He's like, "Bro, not you too, right?" And I feel like it was very well done to have Rukia be the one to stab him again because that's how the show started with her stabbing him. But beyond that, like I really like the fact that he was very heartbroken by the fact that Rukia of all people would betray him the same as everybody else because Rukia has a special place in his heart. Even I've never seen it as a romantic type of um like relationship. I've always viewed it as like much deeper than that. I do think some relationships are deeper than I want to bang you. I
Between
honestly do believe that. I think Ichigo and Rukia's relationship is much deeper than romantic feelings towards each other. I do think that. And every time they interact with each other, they look at each other and they give each other that like "I got you, you got me" type look. So I believe a case can be made for romantic affiliation between them.
now that creates a question of can guys and girls be friends like that? Because in reality, I don't think it's possible. In
You don't think it's
Bleach,
possible?
absolutely not. Somebody won't try to get in there or jump on top of somebody else eventually, right?
True.
In Bleach, what you just explained, where they look at each other and it's like they nod, like "I got you." That's something you do with your homeboys, right?
Yeah.
Because again, now if we analyze female nature, this goes back to what I said before the call, as to like guys have a tendency to think that women think like us, right? That they would make decisions like us. They don't. They can't. Um, they function more at a subconscious level versus guys can function at a conscious level. In general, guys function at a conscious level more than women, right? Hunchbacks are people who function at a subconscious level. They're not really conscious of what they're doing. They are controlled by their emotions and trends. legit like a girl. So in reality, there's no way that a man and a female can be friends like that. It just can't. Is it completely impossible? I suppose there are exceptions here and there, but I bet you if you dug deeper, somebody waiting on somebody else, or somebody just is asexual, right? Or somebody's gay. So that's all there is to it. That's just the truth. So that's why I'm asking this question, that this Rukia and Ichigo example, it shows that it's an inaccurate example of how male and female dynamics can be. It's inaccurate. A woman can't have your back as a friend, as a guy would. It just can't happen like that, right? Um, so when we now look at Ichigo and Orihime, now I like Orihime. She's cool. She's simple. And man, am I struggling with capturing the expression here. Um, she's cool and simple. I'm trying to make this kind of deep because this illustration, because Lisa obviously isn't human. She's a fairy. But these fairies actually are kind of special. So I'm trying to like make her look like she's wearing makeup and she doesn't know why she's even trying to, because she doesn't really have to, type thing. So I don't know which expression would be the best. What do you think? You're just getting off topic a bit.
No, I like the straight eyebrows, like the plain, because you said she doesn't know,
Yeah, she doesn't
right?
know like why
Yeah,
do I
so
need to do
yeah.
this?
So like the straight eyebrows kind of work because they give off like a very confused look, right?
What about this one? I kind of made.
Nah, that
Uh huh.
that arc like right at the end makes her look like okay. I think it works. I think it works now. Now that I'm thinking about it,
Okay.
she kind of does look confused a little bit.
All right. I'm gonna keep this one. Right.
Yeah.
Going back to Orihime, she's fluffy, soft, and squishy, and simple. And for some, that can be profoundly boring. So that wait, so all she gonna do is just bake bread and be quiet, and give up the cake. Well, yeah, and I don't know why some dudes find that boring, but I think they find it boring because when you have that in reality, and I'll make the example of dudes here. How many times have you seen dudes in the hood, taxi drivers, in which they can find a type of orihime, but then they spend all their days at the liquor store, or they're gonna find some other toxic woman to play with.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
It happens a lot, and it's not just here. I remember seeing a documentary how an orihime type in Japan, right, who was always waiting on the husband until he came back at midnight, right? She knew that the husband went to the gentleman's club, and the gentleman's club was not really like a strip club per se, but there were geisha there. There were women who knew how to converse with men, right? This was the reality of Japanese society, the working man, from after World War II up until I suppose the 90s, right? Um, and they asked her, "Are you upset that he goes to the gentleman's club?" And she said, "Because there are no emotions involved when he goes there. I'm not upset. I don't feel jealous. He just goes there to find a type of relief that I cannot give him." So Orihime is exactly that example. She cannot give Ichigo a relief that that man in the documentary was seeking, which is what? Well, a type of conversation, right, that he would like to experience with the opposite sex, right? Because amongst guys, yeah, we can talk about anything. But with the spouse, usually what you're talking about are the logistics of the relationship. So now in manga, obviously they're not going to talk about all of this. This is like hardcore social science right now. We're doing social science studies, right? They're not really going to talk about that, especially in a shonen. So
Yeah.
that automatically just shows that, yeah, it does not depict at all an accurate image, because the story ends and they got married, and you think, oh, it's kumbaya forever. Not really. You see Naruto and Hinata as well is another great example, right? What do you think of a Hinata and Naruto situation?
It's oddly similar to the Orihime one, isn't it?
Nah, I don't think so.
Do you think it's worse?
Now, not worse in the case of like, oh, it would have been better if Naruto was with Sakura. I think Naruto would have been happier with Sakura for a time, right? Um, but Sakura is profoundly unhelpful, right? She's not helpful, man. And she's never been the type who actually. Sakura's like a Lewis, but at least in her case, she submits to Sasuke, even though he's never home, right? So, and
Yeah.
that word is blasphemy these days. Like, what did you just say? Women need to submit to? Yes, yes, I did. You stupid African. Yimmy, 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 yimmy. Yeah, well, you whatever. This is Africa, bro. Not that these women submit here either anymore. It's over, man. It's cooked. But anyway,
They
um,
don't do that anymore.
yeah, they don't, bro. It's like, hey, can you make me some pop? Yeah, wait, no. What you say to me? So forget it, you know. So with the Naruto and Hinata one, I think Naruto would have been happier because that was the girl he liked the most. But I think it would have been short lived, right? Plus, his responsibilities as Hokage were eventually just going to get in the way anyway, where he would end up in a situation that he's in with Hinata. I remember even asking Naruto if he's happy in his marriage through the AI, right? And he gave me such a good answer, bro, right? It was a very realistic answer. Let's see if I can. Did I delete the app? Ah, damn, I did delete it. But anyway, he said, I asked him, did you want to marry Sakura more? And he's like, yes, I did. I really genuinely like Sakura more. But it was of no use to pursue someone who doesn't care about you. So he
That's
settled for Hinata. He settled. Hinata, yes, a lot of people were like, yeah, man, she thick, she's nice. Like, yeah, that that is short lived. It's very shallow. And that
true.
proves that if you're gonna have that mindset that she's thick and full of butter, like yeah, you're still single, bro. You've never been with a woman, right? Still a virgin and everything. You don't know what you're talking about. Cause in reality, all that thickness is just gonna be the norm to you. Like, yeah, whatever, right? It just ain't gonna excite you so much. So, um, Naruto working hard, barely home, or he sends a shadow clone. At the end of the day, these two never really had anything that made them click. At least with Sakura, they were forced to click because they were on the same team. With
Yeah.
Hinata, not at all. With Ichigo, at least. Also, they went to the Soul Society together. They were in the same class, same group of friends, yada, yada, yada. It makes more sense. But Naruto and Hinata is a straight up L of a situation, bro. It is not romantic at all, the way I see it.
I think it's very one-sided until like when they retconned it in the movie by the end when they made that movie. I think it's called The Last or something.
Yeah.
Then they were trying to retcon the whole thing, but it was very one-sided. But I always liked how Hinata saw Naruto. Like even from the first show when they were kids, like she always saw him as like how Iruka saw Naruto as like just a kid, bro. Like he's just a kid and he's acting out. Hinata was one of the few people who actually saw him as someone. Now, not just a fox, but just someone trying to do the right thing. And I always liked it. I always appreciated that. And my favorite moment is when in the tuning exams, um, Hinata actually gets inspired by Naruto, right? And she's always looking at him with such admiration. And um, no one else was looking at Naruto like that back then. She was one of the first ones that were like, yo, there's something here. And I really liked that, even though it was extremely one-sided. Except that time when like Neji was just beating the shit out of Hinata, and Naruto just could not take it anymore. And he was like the only one that was like, nah, bro, all my life, bro, I'm getting back. So I like that Hinata saw Naruto as a person, but the relationship was not well written at all, bro, at all.
Yeah, when you put it like that, that is pretty interesting. Um, Hinata seeing him as a person for the first time. And
Yeah,
I suppose maybe there is some relatability in terms of Naruto has been seen as an object, vessel of evil for the longest time. Hinata has been seen and expected to be like, a good representative of the Hyuga clan. Um,
exactly. I was gonna touch on that. I was gonna touch on that.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say that like they have that thing in common where they both of them have imposed opinions on them, like on their character. So Hinata's kind of was always supposed to be better than Neji. Like Neji's whole existence is puts Hinata to shame. Like her existing and Neji being like elite is just it brings shame upon her, right? Naruto, kind of the same thing, where the fox being in him and how everyone views him, they both hold that shame with them that they're never going to be seen for themselves, right? They're never given space to just be people. They're always entities, right? Hinata's supposed to be the leader of the Hyuga. She's supposed to be the strongest. She comes from the pure bloodline, like the pure branch of the family and stuff. And Naruto, he's like no one saw him as a kid. Honestly, it was just Iruka. Even Iruka wasn't seeing him as a kid until episode 1 ended. It was just Shikamaru, Hinata. That's pretty much it. And Hinata didn't even have anybody. That's why no one noticed her stalking Naruto every time because no one was looking at her. Like I think it
Right.
was only Kurenai. I think it was just Kurenai, but that's only because she was the sensei, right? So I think they have that. Probably that's what drew Hinata to Naruto when she saw him alone and stuff, and she felt that like, oh, this guy's like me, you know. Even though I have a family and everything, I still feel like that, and he doesn't even have a family, right? So, but now we're just making headcanon right now. Everything that we're speaking about wasn't even like elaborated in the show.
We're filling in the blanks.
We're filling in the blanks right now. So no, I do like Hinata. I don't think, like you said, it was very superficial. Naruto's liking of Sakura, it was very superficial because I don't think they have anything in common, like anything. Even though they were in the same team for the longest time, I've never felt any chemistry between them.
Does
And
Sakura
I
have
remember,
anything in common with Sasuke? Nope.
I think they have certain moments, like when he was leaving the village. Remember they had that talk, and he was just like, he just beat her just so she wouldn't follow him. I think that moment is like the only one I can bring up from the original show. I think in the tuning exams, Sakura there was a moment where she was taking care of both of them, so it doesn't count as a Sasuke and Sakura thing. But I know, like in the Sasuke retrieval arc, Sakura was kind of a character. Before they left, she got a lot of screen time because she was the last one to see Sasuke, and so they had that talk and stuff. Um, and yeah, I don't like her with Sasuke. I think Sasuke was never supposed. I think he was supposed to be the last Uchiha. He was never supposed to mate with anyone. I think his character was so bad in terms of relationships with anyone. I think that's why Naruto fighting for him means so much. It's because no one else is fighting for him. Naruto is the only one that's fighting for him.
Right.
I think that's why his relationship with Naruto is so important and they have that bond. It's because Naruto is the only one who's willing to put himself on the line. Because I remember this scene where I think it was after he beat Pain, and the ninjas from the Cloud Village, I think, were just beating the shit out of him, and he was like, "Just let it out on me. Like, if you hate Sasuke so much, you can just take it out on me." I think Naruto is the only character that could have done that. Not even Sakura could have done that, and she was there when they were beating Naruto. She didn't offer herself up for Sasuke. Naruto did that. So I always feel like Sasuke was never meant to be with anyone. The end of
That's
his character was always supposed to be, because the whole show he's angry at Itachi for killing everyone that he loves and making him alone. Him killing Itachi and him being alone at the end is supposed to be a great end to his character, because he is the thing that he hated the most, what he feared the most, and he's supposed to live through that because of his decisions.
right.
So him being with Sakura, I don't like it one bit, but I guess for Boruto, like whatever. But I've always assumed that he was never gonna be with anyone.
Now that makes sense. Yeah, that would have been way better. But indeed, they had to make the next generation, bro. They had to.
Exactly.
They had to create Sarada, and to milk the whole thing. But yeah, you see, yeah, they didn't have anything in common. Honestly, I don't see anything in common that they would have. And then there was this, I think Kishimoto wrote it last year, 2 years ago, one volume of Sasuke and Sakura going on a mission together where they were fighting this evil scientist who was resurrecting dinosaurs. It was really cool. It was really good.
Really.
Um, but still, there was no real. Their relationship just seemed one-sided again. That it's mostly Sakura who's infatuated with him, but as to why, it doesn't really make any sense. Aside from the superficial thing of like, oh, he's handsome, he's got long hair. That's bullcrap,
Yeah.
right? So, and notice what you said earlier about Naruto took punches for Sasuke when the hidden cloud dudes came over. And Sakura was right there keeping her mouth shut. So, that there is an accurate display of reality that a girl can't have your back the same way a dude can, right? That was the most accurate display of romance and love, right? She can't
Yeah.
have your back like that. So
Uh,
I'm trying to break the psyops here that we all grew up with. Now, in Bloody Hell, there is going to be some romance. And I admit that the romance that I'm going to put here is part of the psyop. But now you know, right? And I'm only putting it there because, idealistically speaking, it would be amazing if the story ends in this type of romance, right? I did say that it's going to be somewhat of a happy ending, but there's going to be like, whoa, is this even still the end type thing, right? It's going to leave you perplexed in a way. Um, I am going to put in the psyop romance down the line because because I understand that this is not a display of reality. It is a wish that reality be this way. That's why I'm putting it in there. Right?
Understandable.
Yeah.
Understandable.
I'm not trying to make people believe that this is possible, it could happen. It will never happen. I'm telling you right now. Never gonna happen. Right? So let's quickly look at Guts and Casca. I remember making a video about Guts and Casca a long time ago. And how Guts likes or really loves Casca, but Casca is still in love with Griffith, And somebody once wrote in the comments that Casca's love for Griffith changed from from the view of him as the Messiah, right, to wanting to be his woman, to only seeing him as a Messiah that I owe my life to, right? And that moment of like that change, it came right after Griffith got taken, right? If he never got taken, and Griffith never really tried to make a move on Princess Charlotte, Casca's feelings towards Griffith would have remained the same. That he is my Messiah, and I want to be his woman, right? She adapted. Her feelings naturally adapted. And that's why when you see that flashback or dream sequence Griffith has where he's in the chair and he's married to Casca, strangely enough, Casca names the child Guts and names the dog Pippin. And I remember saying that Casca already had a list of options. That if it don't work with Griffith, I'm going to Guts. If Guts leaves, I'm going to Pippin. Right? She already had a list. Now, and I say that is a true representation of reality, that you're not her first option, bro. You're not. You think she liked you and only you? No, she didn't. Right? So, what do you say?
Yeah, I think Berserk. I really like how they wrote the Guts and Casca thingy, and Griffith is my favorite love triangle of all time, honestly, because it's not a love triangle. Like what you said is very accurate. Both of the things that you said. You said um, there's someone in the comments who's saying, or who said on the video that you made a long time ago, that Casca's feelings for Griffith changed. And I think they did. But I want to talk about Guts and Casca more than I want to talk about Griffith and Casca, because Guts and Casca's relationship, it was so realistic to the point where I believed it instantly when it happened. I didn't even doubt it. Like I knew, like, okay, these two are gonna be together. Like it's just a natural evolution for the relationship, because I think I'm gonna actually. This is from what you said, but remember when they were fighting and Casca got like her period and she was weak and she fell down and Gus went after her.
Mm-hmm.
I always feel like that is the most important moment in the relationship, because Gus saw Casca in her true femininity back then, like as vulnerable as she could be, and Casca saw herself being vulnerable with Guts. And that's something she's never gotten from Griffith, because Guts saw her as a woman then. And Griffith only saw her as a tool, right? Like as a sword. He's just like, you're just a commander in my army. You're nothing more than that. And the fact that Guts could see her as a woman in that moment where they were both next to death pretty much, and they were being hunted and stuff, and she's not in a position to fight, and Gus is taking care of her and stuff. That whole episode is just so well written because of the build up. They hated each other, and then they were okay, not really good, but just okay because they're in the same army. And then there's the scene where Griffith sends Guts to assassinate a kid, not a kid, but that guy, and then he ends up assassinating the kid as well. And then he's trying to go and tell Griffith, like, the mission I did, and then they both, Casca and Guts, see Griffith trying to make his moves on Charlotte, right? That is the scene, I think, that broke the Trinity. Everyone kind of went for themselves after that scene, because Griffith was focused on the throne. Casca saw that Griffith will never see her, so she pivoted to Guts. Guts stopped looking at Griffith like a god, and then he wanted to go on his own way, and Casca kind of valued that, right? Because she cannot do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I could go on about it a lot, bro. Like, I've thought about it a lot, but I'm trying to stay on topic.
But then
But the
is
whole
okay. Go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say that like those three characters are just so like their interrelationship between them, just the three of them, is so well written because I've always spoken about how um I know it's gonna sound awful, but I've always understood why people say Griffith did nothing wrong. And I'm not trying to talk about the what happened in the eclipse with him and Casca. Not that, right? Not that. But everything else, him sacrificing everyone. Because I remember him talking to Guts, I think, and he was saying that these people already give their lives for me. I never asked them to do this. They just do it willingly. So they are my swords, like, and they do it willingly. I never have to ask them. I never have asked them, and they just do it. And in the eclipse, that's what happens. He just takes what they have given him, their lives.
Right.
So if you think about it like that, because back then he was still remorseful, and he still had like a shred of humanity about them dying because he still remembered them, and he still remembered this kid who wanted to be a knight and he joined his army, and he remembers every one of them, their backstories, why this one is in the army, kind of like that conversation Gus had with who's that guy, Judo, and Judo was telling him, oh, that guy wants to retire and go make a farm or some shit. I don't remember. And I'm talking about Gascon. Gascon is like a really good character. But besides that, Griffith never saw those people as people because of themselves, because of how they treated him. They put him on a pedestal. They never saw him as a human. They always saw him as a messiah. That's why they were willing to die for him. So in turn, that kind of numbed him. And he also saw them as nothing but swords, because that's how the relationship is with him and his army. Except with Casca and Guts. Guts from the jump was never just a sword.
Okay. What was he? A friend?
He was like, it was, I want to say, something that he didn't have from his army. Because I just said his army didn't see him as a human. So Guts was kind of the only guy who was like, I'm not doing anything just because you tell me. He had to force Guts to submit, right? He had to break his arm. He had to kind of force him. And he kind of liked that Guts didn't put him on a pedestal. He didn't view him as a god.
Right.
And that meant more to him than any relationship with Casca, like just banging and stuff. And then what, right? Any kind of relationship he could have had with anyone kind of paled in comparison to what Guts was giving him at that particular time in the story. And he loved that. That's why he couldn't sacrifice Guts. That's why he saw Guts as something more than even a friend. Like I don't think friends is accurate. I think it was much deeper than that, because he was very attached to Guts. You could see him when Guts left him. He felt like, dude, he was just detached from everything. Casca was there. He had literally everything he had and more than before he met Guts. Right? Guts gave him the kingdom. Right? He was ordained, bro. He wasn't a peasant anymore. He was a nobleman. Right? He had things he didn't have before Guts, but when Guts left, he felt like he was lower than when he met Guts. So I think it's what I was talking about at the start of the stream, where I was like, romance and love isn't just about banging. This is a perfect example of what I was talking about. Sometimes it's much deeper than that. Guts did love, no, Griffith did love Guts because of what Guts was giving Griffith. And it wasn't like smashing, or it was something that cannot be spoken. It was deep. That's why even when he was being tortured, bro, the only thing he was thinking about was Guts.
And so, what did Guts give Griffith? Would you say
Humanity.
what?
Humanity. He gave him humanity, bro.
And what does that mean?
It means like Guts. You remember that scene where they were like playing with water and they was like behaving like kids, bro. And they're naked and just splashing water next to you. And the whole army has never seen Griffith like that. at all. It was like he was a child, he was a little boy. That's what Guts was giving Griffith, like the freedom to be free and not be a messiah, not not have the burden of being the chosen one. That's what Guts was giving Griffith. And Casca could not understand that. Pippin could not understand it. Judo could not understand it. That's why they didn't understand why Griffith acted like that when Guts left, because they never saw Guts as not Guts, Griffith. They never saw him as a human. They didn't think he needed those things.
Right.
They thought he just needed swords so he can win armies and like not armies, wars, and so he can become king and have his kingdom. But that's why Griffith was so depressed and detached before Guts came into the what was that band called? The Band of the Hawk. Yeah. Before Gus came into the Band of the Hawk, Griffith was always distant, bro. He was always looking at clouds, and like nothing was appealing to him until he saw Guts. So I think that's what Guts was giving Griffith. And that's why when he lost Guts, he just lost everything. He lost his humanity. That's why he could go through with the eclipse. And then he saw Guts take Casca. Casca just like being soft around Guts. What you were talking about. How when you're in a relationship with someone as a woman, you're supposed to be soft and affectionate and compassionate. Casca was like that to Guts, and they never seen Casca like that. Remember, she was always like masculine, and being the commander that she was, they call her like Sister Casca, because she was a badass, and she was the one holding the fort when Griffith was like being tortured. She was the leader. They never saw her as a woman, also, but Guts did. That's why she's soft towards Guts. Guts kind of broke the whole boss girl thingy that she was using as a facade to be strong, right? And she was using that for Griffith. So Griffith could see her, because Griffith didn't see her as anything. So she was like, dude, if you're not going to see me as a woman, at least see me as a sword. At least see me as something. I can be anything. Just see me. That's what she was desperate for from Griffith. And she wasn't even desperate for anything with Guts. And Guts saw her completely. That's why it worked.
Yeah, that's a nice breakdown. And shows the genius of Kentaro. You know, he understands that, you know, a woman gotta be soft if she's with her guy, you know. I remember in the manga where when they were going to rescue Griffith, and sometimes, you know, she would say things out loud that would not be so soft, but then she would catch herself and remember that, hey, you can't treat Guts like how you used to treat him, type thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, so yeah, that was always nice to see. Let's quickly check out the comments there. You can go ahead and read them.
Okay. Kingslayer says, does Pierce do reviews as well? No, man, I don't do reviews. Mainly because I don't have an audience. Like, I don't have a lot of subscribers. I would assume that when people want, like, you to do a review, they're also doing it for exposure as well. That's why you would go to Coffee, because a lot of people watch Coffee comics. And that would also help you with the comic. But if you just want criticism, like, just help, just one-on-one, I can do that. But you're obviously not going to get a lot of views and stuff from me on my platform, because my platform isn't as big. But if you just want criticism and analysis, like, I can do that, because I myself am a writer. Not a professional, like, not, I don't have a degree in writing or anything. Like, I just like it and I do it and I understand it. So if that's what you guys want, then for sure I can do that. And Rookie Rock Solid says hello there. Okay, hello to you too, sir. Ola says, I think he's talking about that Akash guy. He's like, I've heard of him. I guarantee his wife is cheating on him.
Yeah, absolutely, bro.
And then he says, I need to go back and watch Bleach. I watched it up to a certain part and then fell off. Gotta catch up, bro. Last part is coming out next year. Gotta catch up. And then he says, Sakura's the type of woman that would divorce Naruto and take half of his money in court.
Yeah, definitely, bro. Like, you're not home enough, Naruto. I'm the Hokage, bitch. What do you think I'm doing? Yeah, well, who? No one asked you to be Hokage, oh, bro. It would. Somebody should make an AI skit of that happening. That'd be very funny.
And then JBZ says they just forced both of them together. Kishimoto admits he has no idea how relationships work, and see his characters as his children, and that is weird seeing them together. The
Oh wow. Okay.
I didn't know about that. Yeah. And then Saito says it's like the old saying, "She's not yours. It's just your turn."
Exactly. That is just too sad, too brutal, and too real. Because, we can hear statements like that, right? And we can laugh. But then when you find yourself in that situation, or somebody close to you, experiences that, dude, it hits so hard, man. You're like, ah, damn, this, this is some bullshit type thing. You don't know how to react. Sometimes you can just
Yeah,
freeze. So, yeah.
yeah, that's true. Haku says the problem with manga and anime romance is that usually it's love at first sight or someone they know for a long time. There's never a variety of different relationships. I mean, you have a point. Especially, I always think that it's difficult to write love because a lot of people will want it to be realistic. Like they will want to relate to it a lot of the time because love is such a, I don't want to say simple emotion, but an easy emotion to get. Like everyone can fall in love, right? So everyone is critical of it because everyone can just do it. So I
Actually,
always feel like,
actually, I don't think people can fall in love anymore. Not the way we used to back in the day. Now, speaking as a guy here, I only ever fell in love, like for real, twice. One in high school, she never liked me at all, bro. I was 4,000 pounds, and I was like, I'm gonna lose all this jiggliness over here just in time for Valentine's. And I did, bro, right? And then I wrote a descriptive essay of just how, you know, awesome she is. And I got an A+ for it. I came there, all decked out. I'm like, yeah, woman. So look, I likes you, I wants you, and I lost all this belly fat, and I wrote a poem about you. You see, I got an A+. How's about you do me a solid? And yeah, she was blushing and all that. I've never seen a black woman turn red before until that day. Um, but she's like, yeah, I really appreciate it, but I don't like you like that. I'm like, oh, okay. Um, that was once. And then the second time was in university, right? And then one day she called me that Bruce came over, and I lost all hope from that day, you know. Ever since then, it was not the traditional type of falling in love, you know, those butterflies and whatnot. From those disappointments, when there was attraction to seeing another girl, it wasn't love anymore. And it wasn't lust either, right? I think it was just desire, but because when you now are conscious of your feelings, right? You're operating consciously. You cannot, fall in love when you now operate consciously, right? When people say I fall in love, that's somebody who's not operating consciously. That's somebody who has no mastery over their emotions. But when you do, and you do see somebody and you like them, you can now diagnose yourself that I like them because they appeal to me and I'm attracted to them, but I don't know if we would be cooperative. So you go there and you make a move, which I don't recommend anymore. Don't cold approach, y'all. Just leave it alone. But back then, right? You would go up there and you would see if there would be some reciprocation of the affection or the attraction. And yeah, it just became, once you are conscious, man, like it's not the same anymore. And that does
Yeah.
remove the sweetness from your life, I suppose, from your daily experiences, because you know now you can catch yourself and realize that, oh, this is not a movie type thing.
And I 100% agree. I do think the love, right? It requires a sort of whimsy that isn't grounded in reality. It requires you to kind of let yourself go. I've always thought that the term falling in love literally means that I have let go of myself.
Yeah.
Because you literally cannot do it when you're conscious, like you're saying, because you can literally see everything, like you're aware, right? And being in love actually requires you to just, that's why we're more prone to fall in love at a younger age, like high school, uni, stuff like that, is because we're still not traumatized yet. And the trauma kind of like blocks you from being whimsical and kind of having that fantastical, you know, because I've always understood what people meant by butterflies. It's not an actual like butterfly. It's just that whole experience of whimsy, right? Like,
Exactly.
I'm not aware of what's going on right now. It's definitely a thing, and for sure, being conscious just prohibits all of that. It just stops it right immediately. So yeah, now I understand what you mean by that. It's very difficult to fall once you've seen everything. It takes a lot actually to fall while conscious. It literally requires you to do it consciously, like to fall in love consciously,
Yeah,
which
bro.
is kind of a paradox.
Impossible. Exactly.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
man, it is tough, bro. You see, there are two types of guys. One who is consciously aware of his emotions, where now he might be accused of being emotionally unavailable. A guy who's emotionally unavailable, yeah, you'll be accused of being cold and whatnot. But then you get the guy who's been traumatized, who now has no more emotions to give, right?
Exactly.
Then you get
Yeah.
guys like me, where it's like, I'm just aware, right? I'm not going to allow myself to be ensnared by these butterflies, right? And you too would be called emotionally unavailable. But here's the funny part. The funny part is the simp that pursues the girl 24/7, right? He's a turnoff. He's always emotionally available, and so he gets used as a tampon. The guy who is not emotionally available, she pursues him more. And when we look at it from a psychological point of view, an evolutionary point of view, you know, as one guy once said, Coach Greg said this. He said, in general, it is the female's nature to get the most out of you. But what that is not really just to, it's not on purpose, right? It's their nature to get the most out of you. And what is the most? Well, resources. It's not really money per se, it is what she currently needs at the time. So if you are always there providing emotional security, right? Well, she gets bored and she doesn't need it anymore. So you're not needed. Then she sees somebody there who's not providing emotional security and she pursues him in hope that maybe if I offer my body to him, he will give me a type of emotional security that I'm not getting or that I am getting here at home. The more I give myself to him, the more I give myself to Chad, the more he will open up to me, hopefully. And Chad never does. Either because he's already traumatized or he just knows better as to like, nah, you gave me the booty for no reason, right? And then she'll complain to the emotionally available guy that Chad, he didn't give me, and you know, he's distant emotionally, and the simp will be like, "Oh, that's so bad. Hey, here's some cookies. Can I smash now? No, can't you see I'm in a bad mood?" Type thing. So it's very interesting, man. Once you see all of this consciously, instead of just raging over this difference of social behavior between male and female.
Alright, nice. Now I understand. Let me read some more here. Bloodness says, "Oh shit, I'm late. Hello, everybody. Love and romance, accurate in manga, yes and no." Okay, I'm gonna need you to elaborate on that, sir. Um, Haku says 75% bad, 5% good, 20% mid. That's somewhat accurate, yeah. Most are actually mid.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Bloodness says some authors do it purely for self insert. Some do make fun of the delusional. Some do it for the realistic message. I mean, my favorite romance anime is not even like realistic at all. It's just funny. And it's Kaguya Sama. Kaguya Sama Love is War. I think that show is like so funny.
I don't know
But
it.
it's like, you've never seen it?
Nah. What happens?
It's about like these two students in school, and one is from a rich, like the girl Kaguya, she's from a rich family, and she's second in her class, right? She's like the vice president of the student council or whatever. She's in love with this guy that's number one, but he's from a poor family and stuff. They're both attracted to each other, but they don't want to let the other one know that they're attracted to each other because they believe that the first one who tells the other one is the weakling in the relationship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like they're trying their best to maneuver around telling each other they love each other, but they're trying to spend as much time with each other as possible. It's so funny the situations that they create, bro. Like it's the funniest thing. And they have like other like two or three other students in the student council, and one of them knows that both of them like each other, but they don't want to tell each other. And she's dumb. The girl that kind of can see what's going on, she's like a dumb girl, so she can't read like the social cues of like, oh, this one is trying to plan to meet up with this one, and hang out. So sometimes she just ruins the plan, and it creates so many funny situations. It's like a lighthearted show I watched a long time ago. I'm not even up to date with it, but I think it's my favorite one.
Okay. Sounds pretty interesting. Have you watched Nana before?
I read it a long time ago. I don't even remember what happens, but I read it. I didn't watch it.
Nana is, I would say Nana is pretty darn realistic when it comes to young romance from late teenagehood to um, late 20s. And everything is about Nana in a way, how clumsy she is and how quick she accidentally falls on another guy's mushroom here and there, you know. Um, but you see, it needs maturity when you're watching it. Because you end up hating Nana as to like, are you just gonna jump on every guy that gives you flowers type thing, right? Um, but it's interesting. Like I think people should give it a chance. It's nice and old school, early 2000s. Even the fashion in there, bro. It's very early 2000s. So you should check it out.
Nah, I've heard Nana's really good. I think when I read it a long time ago, I was also like a teen, and I was reading it when I was like reading a lot of manga. Like I think it was also the time when I was still getting into manga, so I was reading like not for retention in a way. I was just consuming like mindlessly, right?
Right.
So I should definitely go back and read it because you're not the first person to recommend it to me, but I shall definitely give it a read. Let me read here. Haku says, so manga like Rent a Girlfriend and 100 Girlfriends are parodies. Are they parody? I don't even know there's a manga called 100 Girlfriends.
Yeah, I don't know about 100 girlfriends. Um,
I just know Rent a Girlfriend because of the fandom. They're always complaining. And I've never watched it or read it. Like,
I kind of, yeah, I watched the first episode and I'm like, it was pretty funny in the first episode, but then it's not my type of thing, so I was like, whatever, I'm good. So now people are complaining, and I'm like, okay,
yeah, I always feel like when you watch such media, I don't think you should take it as seriously as something else. I think it was meant not to be taken seriously.
right.
But the fandom of Rent a Girlfriend, they take it so seriously. I'm always seeing them crying on the timeline.
Let them cry a river.
Bloodness says 100 Girlfriend is definitely a parody. Sadly, for Rent a Girlfriend, there are guys like that in real life. Really?
Yeah,
I
there
know
are
in
dudes,
Japan.
bro. There are
I know
niggas
in
renting
Japan
chicks
there
here,
is a
bro.
Rent a Girlfriend system over there.
But renting a girlfriend is just an escort service, for being
Mm-hmm.
honest. So there are escorts everywhere. Um,
Fair, fair. But I don't know the main character, so I don't know what this guy means. But anyway, Haku says every romance manga reads like a fictional scenario. Only manga that don't belong in the romance genre do realistic interpretations. Hmm, that's interesting.
Wait, say that again. Only manga?
He says every romance manga reads like a fictional scenario. Only manga that don't belong in the romance genre do realistic interpretations.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. And Black Swan says, I think that's a good idea. If you start doing reviews, you can create audience, my boy. I shall try. I shall try. I shall try doing that. Uh, Plus, I think there's much more writers than artists, so I can probably make more money than coffee here.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Then you can buy me lunch, bro, for putting you on.
For sure, for sure. Saito says, I think writing love in fiction can work, but the issue is it can be messy. And the fact that it's messy, it'll be rather uncomfortable for the modern audience nowadays. I can't catch feelings for anybody anymore. I'm too numb for that.
Exactly. And
I mean,
this,
it's supposed to be messy. That's I feel like that's what ruins a lot of relationships because a lot of people think love is what they see in media, the depiction of it, which is supposed to be all lovey-dovey. Like how it starts is supposed to be how it is throughout, which is
the
not
thing.
accurate at all.
Nah, okay, I hear you, right? I had that mindset that it can stay lovey-dovey forever, right? And let me tell you that indeed it can. But the only reason it doesn't is because somebody in the relationship ends up wanting something you can't give, right? So it's usually the girl, of course, that she ends up wanting what you can't give. And she will, instead of being direct with you, because it's not their nature to be direct with you, um, they will be passive aggressive. You will have to decipher why all of a sudden there's this new behavior that is now leading to arguments, right? It can be lovey dovey because usually when a guy comes up to a chick and he says, this is what I have to offer you. Everything on this table is everything that I will be able to give you sustainably until the end. It is usually her who would agree to this, but not in honesty, right? She usually wants more than what you've put on the table. 5 years go by in the relationship, and that's when they say the honeymoon phase is over. The honeymoon phase is over because she now wants what you never put on the table. She's now going to expect you to realize that she wants more. Then there are arguments, right? And no one really talks about this because it would mean you have to put the female under accountability. And the new modern Trinity is not Father, Son, Holy Spirit no more. It's female, uh, gay dude, and black person, right? So you cannot talk to the almighty female in a certain way or hold her accountable. How dare you? She's divine, type thing. So when you say, Pierce, that actually it being messy is normal, it's actually not normal. We've normalized it, right? And we've made dudes accept it as normal and consistently take L's and jump around multiple obstacles and hula hoops to satisfy something that's impossible, right? Because the more you try to fulfill what she's now desiring, the more she's gonna want more and more and more. So it's literally impossible. Why? Because it's their nature. In a way, when she's used to, let's say, the 7 bedroom house, she's been living in there for 5 years. That becomes the basic safety net that no longer feels safe anymore. So in order to feel safe, because now this is the norm, this is a normal environment, now I don't feel safe here anymore. Maybe we should move to a 10 bedroom house. Or maybe we should change the gate. Maybe we should. It is just that nature, right? Some people will say, it is the fallen nature of women because of sin and stuff like that. If you look at it just scientifically, no, that's just how they are, and the guy should be aware of this so that you don't jump through a bunch of obstacles and live life expecting a mess. It's okay to be a man, but like, I don't want a mess because I can keep it clean. If she wants a mess, that isn't normal. She can pack her bags, you know?
That's very accurate because now that I think about it, I've also I almost wrecked something because I asked for something that one person couldn't give me and I knew they couldn't give me. Now that I think about it, so there's some legit accuracy to what you just said. So now I hear you, man. I hear you. Most definitely. Most definitely.
Yep.
Okay, let me read. Haku says, wait, I already read that. Wait, what? Did I read it? Another problem with romance stories is the tension. We only see the honeymoon phase and nothing else. No whisper arguments, psychological warfare. Only hugs and kisses.
Yeah, in a way that touches base with what I just said,
Yeah,
The thing is,
yeah,
we
yeah.
do see psychological warfare now in the soapies. If you watch soapies, it's toxic as hell, bro. You know?
Very accurate.
Yeah, ultra toxic, man. Like, these chicks are, like, destroying these dudes' brains, bro. So, you do see it, you just don't see it in your big IPs like Harry Potter or Naruto, really. Because that's
Yeah.
not what
Those
it's
ones that go.
about.
Yeah, those ones are coveted. Those ones are coveted. But I do also think that, dude, to be in a relationship with someone, like a committed one. I'm not talking about like dating or something. I mean like a long term one, right? Where you know that I'm putting my eggs in this basket, right? I feel like you need to see them at their worst. I think that's very important. Right. I mean, it is good for everything to be standard and for us to be aware of everything that's happening and aware of our needs and wants and what we can give each other and stuff. But I do also feel like to see someone at their worst is very important.
But how do you do that if everybody puts their best foot forward in the first 6 months of the relationship? Some are able to front for like years, bruh. Then hit you with
That's
a
true.
divorce on the 15th year. And you're like, what happened? I never loved you. I got what I needed from you. I'm out.
True, that is possible. Because a friend of mine was telling me about how his uncle is having a horrible time because he got married to this woman, right? And they've been together like for a long time. I think from 20s, and now he's in his late 40s, right? or like mid 40s, and the girl is like kind of younger than him. But when they got married, the girl didn't have a she didn't have anything, right? So he kind of
Put her on.
gave her yeah he kind of put her on, gave her an allowance, sent her to school, gave her a house, a car, and now she got a job, right?
Divorce.
Now she's acting different, bro.
Mm-hmm.
She's acting different, and the relationship is basically in turmoil right now. So yeah, people can. I feel like you can never know someone when you've only seen them in one circumstance.
Nah, look, you can, bro, because this
In
has to
one
go.
circumstance?
No, you can. It's all about if you are a conscious person who does not live based on the habitual mind, right? Like your uncle or his uncle, right? If he knew what I knew, right, he would understand that when a female no longer needs you for anything, she can't hide that she doesn't need you for anything. She
That's true.
submitted to you because you had something that she couldn't get for herself, right? And you as a guy, it's your responsibility to assess if this person is operating consciously or subconsciously. 9 out of 10 women operate subconsciously, right? I don't care if you think that she's ultra smart. No. Eventually, when she feels like she has gotten something that no longer needs you to be in the picture, she out. She gone. Or if she's too afraid to leave you just like that, right? She's just gonna stop doing a few things that she used to keep doing in order for you to keep giving her what she wanted. Some women restrict the booty, like she ain't gonna give it up so much in your house, right? And in her mind, it's like I use the booty to obtain access to things. Now that I have access to it, in her nature, it makes no sense to give up the booty as often as she once did give it up. She often gave it up because you would supply something she couldn't get for herself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that guy's uncle is straight up doomed, bro. It's over. Now she's gonna try and level up and try to get some politician, bro, Gayton McKenzie type nigga, to you know uh, call her up. Look at Aisha Curry, Steph Curry's wife. She was nothing also, right? And now she's married to a billionaire, and she's gotten used to what this billionaire has to offer. It's like, okay, Steph is worth, maybe he's not a billionaire, but he's worth 800 million. I wonder what type of life I can have with a guy who's worth 2.4 billion.
Dude, it's so puzzling to me how something great can somehow be good over time, and over more time just become basic. That whole um, mind state is puzzling to me. Because right now, I'm sure if she could go back in time and tell her past self that, you're gonna be with a guy that's worth 800 M's, she's gonna be like, what? There's no way. But now she's like, there's no way I'm staying here.
Exactly. I can do better than this. You see, I can do better than this. So, in the end, you can't really win as a guy. If you're a guy who knows these things, right? In order to protect the inevitable demise, because it will come, you become emotionally unavailable. And she'll accuse you of not being emotionally available. She will pursue a guy behind your back who's a weak sissy who can offer a type of masculine attention, right? But usually it gotta be the sissy like that. Because another masculine guy who respects himself, finding out that, wait, you with somebody? I ain't got time for that, right? I ain't got time for that. Now, why doesn't she just go to the Pookie down the street? Because the Pookie down the street doesn't really have social value like that, right? So she would get a simp in a way who does have some sort of social value, but just can't offer her the complete thing that, let's say, LeBron can offer her, right? If LeBron is emotionally unavailable, she's gonna go to a Jimmy down the street who's got money, but she ain't gonna go all the way with that Jimmy. She just gotta use that Jimmy for some attention, right? Extra attention. So yeah, it's crazy.
Crazy and difficult, very difficult. Um, oh man, Bloodness says Haku. If I don't know if you know the manga Asperu Kanojo, but this one was one of the most realistic romance for a messy relationship. And then LeMay says, I made the decision to love my wife. Quotes my pastor.
Wait, the pastor said that?
Yeah, the pastor said that I made the decision to love my wife.
Oh boy. Well, Pastor, Bible says love your wife, but the Bible doesn't say the wife should love the husband. Like, does
This
he?
is yeah, dude, that's crazy. Like, it's romantic affairs are so difficult to navigate.
Because they're not normal. You know, I honestly, bro, we in 2025, like a lot of the psyops we grew up with, love itself, relationships themselves, I was flabbergasted to realize that it too was a psyop. Because if it was normal, why is it so difficult? Why is there so much divorce? Why is there so much backstabbing? Why is there so much, well, affairs, cheating, and whatnot? Why? Because it's not really normal. And this is when you have to question what exactly is a human being then, right? We gave ourselves too much credit as to like we're special, made in the image of God. I can't believe that anymore, bro. Right? Now, indeed, there's a God, but it's not the one we all grew up knowing. Right? This is a type of force, a living force that operates in a dualistic will. I told Piers before the call that what happens when a man is traumatized? Usually he wants to grab a gun, right? This is why when a guy finds out that, he's married and his wife had like 3 niggas in the house, he grabs a gun, blows his brains out, right? Or he goes in the house and kills everybody there, right? When a guy's traumatized, usually the first reaction is, I'm grabbing a gun. When a woman's traumatized, her first reaction is to go get pregnant, right? And notice this. This is not free will here. This is not free will. If a man's general first reaction is violence, and a woman's first reaction or response to trauma is, let me go get pregnant, and obviously to get pregnant, you need to sleep with someone. Notice that it is what in Berserk is described, a hidden hand in which humans serve its will. So if multiple men kept blowing their brains out because they lost or got cheated on, there'd be no humanity. So if when women get traumatized, they go get pregnant. This sustains the human population, not by our choice. When you're conscious of this, you can recognize that, look at this, this is weird. There is like a chip in our brain that most people are not even aware of, that this is what happens. This is to guarantee that humanity survives. And it's got nothing to do with your will. There's this hidden will that enforces this rule, right? And it's dualistic in nature. Men destroy, women create, right? In a way, through procreation. So, scary.
Very scary. Haku says, Oh yeah, I think I read that. No, 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 I didn't. Asupe Asuperu Kanoji. It looks good. I'll read it. Also, another problem is that there are no bad girlfriends. Every girl in the story is the perfect girl or somewhat reliable.
Yeah, now that's the biggest
Well,
biggest lie ever. You know.
like we never see the tolerating, and if we do, it's always a compromise. Another problem is that the boyfriends in these shows are really boring and generic. The romantic story is ruined because the man isn't interesting. I like that you say that because I was actually right now while we're talking, I'm thinking about a movie from 2010 called Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Have you seen that movie, Coffee?
Yeah.
Do you like that movie?
At the time, I liked it because I was an ignorant kid. But now I'm like, I'm not quite sure over here because Scott is pretty lame. You know.
Yeah, he's an asshole.
Exactly. So I'm like, I don't know. Then I saw the Netflix one. I saw the rainbow stuff. I didn't even bother watching it.
Yeah, not a big fan of the Netflix one. I like the original 2010 one. I like that one.
Yeah, it was funny and it had some cool ideas and visuals and whatnot. Definitely, if you're just a hunchback, you can appreciate it.
Yeah, I really like that one because both of them are horrible people. Like Scott is a horrible person. Ramona is also like not a great person at all. And I like how they depicted that relationship. And I like how Scott's arc in the end it didn't culminate in him um falling or having a happily ever after with Ramona. His arc kind of ended with him getting self respect. That was the whole point of the movie. Him noticing that he's a douchebag and that he's a shit person.
Ah, well, I
I
don't
also
remember.
like,
Don't really remember the
yeah, I
ending.
also like how they wrote the romance between him and Ramona because at start you see the whole falling in love thing and it's like he's completely falling, and by the middle of the movie when it starts getting difficult and he's fighting these evil exes and they're fighting a lot, him and Ramona, and at some point Ramona leaves him. It's like I really liked how they wrote that relationship because it's literally a critique on what this guy just said, how there are no bad girlfriends and how the guy is boring and generic. Scott is not generic, but he is a douchebag. It's definitely not what you see or think about when you think about a main character, right? So is Ramona. She's not a typical love interest that doesn't do anything, is waiting for the guy to come home after the war, right? Taking care of the kids. Nah, she's like destructive also. So I did like that depiction. I don't think it's the best written romance, but I do like it. I like how it's very different and the ideas that I explored.
I think,
Very cool.
if
Very cool.
anything, it showed modern day relationships at the time. You know, in the
Mm-hmm.
2010s of young people, how both are everybody's horrible, right? Everybody's
Yep.
horrible. They don't know why. Well, they know why they're together because they fell in love, right? No one was really conscious, and this horrible personality that they have, you know, it's we call it horrible because the tamed human being who's been taught, who's upright, it is unbecoming for you to act a certain way that isn't well that isn't according to what it means to be a gentleman, what it means to be a lady, right? It's barbaric, it's savage. So, in a way, I would
Yep.
say that movie showed the return of the savage just in the context of this modern day. The return of the savage within young people, just in the context of the modern day. And definitely, the savage right now, oh, he has returned fully, just intoxicated with all kinds of big pharma drugs, right? Because a lot of horrible people now, like these hunchbacks, they're just passive aggressive. Most of them can't, in your face, come at you and, be horrible. They can't. Too sissified. It's all them drugs in their system, right? So they just gotta stay snarky and hate watch and just write something on the internet. So
Yeah. Black Swan says love equals how much and if you're willing to tolerate.
indeed, love is tolerance, basically. At the end of the day, love is tolerance, and that is profoundly unacceptable. Think about it, man. Love is an
Yeah.
L, right? Love is an L. If you look at the biblical definition of love, it is commitment, right? Love is kind, patient, doesn't keep count of wrongdoings and what. That's an eternal L, right? When they asked Jesus, if my brother sins against me, how many times should I forgive him? Forgive him as many times as you wish to be forgiven. And there has to come a time where you're like, you know what, bro? I'm sick and tired of your ish, man. I don't want to hate you. But you're making me hate you because of your behavior. Get the hell up and out of my house. And it's got to be with the woman as well. Like, woman, you burnt the chicken for the 10th time. Clearly, you're burning it on purpose at this point. I want you out, you know? So, love is an L. If it's commitment to those who do not want to get along with your program, they need to get the heck up and out of there. Which means if you're a guy who's got his own program, somebody got to submit to that program. But now, when the girl has her job, like your friend's uncle, she got a job. She don't want to submit to the nigga's program anymore. She don't want to cook the chicken. She don't want to give up the booty. It's over.
It's crazy because with the way he told me what's going on, man, he's like, apparently she works in Gauteng, right, in Joburg, and the family, the husband and the kids live in Polokwane, so she has to go to Joburg during the week and come back during the weekend. So apparently she starts making calls Friday and calls the husband like, hey, I'm coming back, but I don't want none of that stuff you guys are doing there, okay? Try your best to, like, not upset me and stuff like that. She starts saying shit like that now, and she's like, yeah, I don't want to cook, bro. We're going to get takeaways while I'm there. I'm not doing anything. Like, and apparently they had a family event, and she was trying to get him, like, she was pressing his buttons, bro, like, screaming while they were arguing and saying, yeah, choke me then, beat me then, like, stuff like that.
You see, that it's over already. But why is she behaving like that? She is not aware, because I suppose she hasn't yet started to cheat on him, right? She is, in a way, trying to be loyal to him, but she's being frustrated for being loyal to him because she doesn't feel like she's receiving what she should, because now she can sustain herself. So now there is a subconscious frustration pent up in her as to, like, man, I don't know what about this nigga is making me react this way, but it's because he can't give what you now want, right? And she doesn't know what she now wants either, because for the longest of time, she's been wanting what only he could give, and now she can give it to herself. So now it causes cognitive dissonance in her brain, and then it leads to frustration, and then she targets the frustration to him, ties it to him that he's the cause of the frustration. Then she acts out like this, saying, choke me, beat me. You see, that right there is lights out, because the guy now is confused. What the heck does this mean? Why has she turned on me all of a sudden? It's like, no, bro. She now wants violence because she has found absolute safety. And now the absolute safety is actually making her feel unsafe. So when you beat her ass, she will be reconfigured as to, like, oh, he's still the man. But if he does beat her ass, he's gonna go to jail, and she will report him because she's been taught that if a nigga whoops your ass, go report him. And bro, it is a nightmare, man. It's a flipping nightmare. Like the social dynamics between modern man and female right now is completely jacked. That's why the gender based violence in this country is high, bro. Sky high. So,
Yeah, it's extremely high. JBZ says the MC in Rent a Girlfriend doesn't have any character growth. He's still the same sad simp from the first chapter. She rejected him. Who wouldn't?
who wouldn't?
He's paying for her service, not real attraction.
Exactly.
It's kind of yeah, it's kind of how. That's crazy though. That's crazy. Blood says there is a reason why novels and shonen romance is booming with these fluffy, puffy high school lovers. People want to keep dreaming and self-inserting. They don't want no barking dog.
What does he mean by barking dog?
I think it means like people don't want trouble in relationships, like arguing or everything
Oh,
else that's annoying. Yeah, I think that's what he means. Then Ola says, "Coffee. Have you heard of Mr. Locario?"
sounds familiar, but I guess I forgot.
Locario. Locario. Saito says, "It's true. I know this is an incel talking point, but women by nature are kinda opportunists and usually go for the men at the top. It's just evolution and biology. If a woman sees a man as a provider, he sees she, I guess, but he said he. She sees him as a potential protector, guardian, someone who's able to raise their kids strong. Well, it used to be that way."
Yeah. Now, see, your natural biology cannot really be overwritten. It can just be overrided. I think there's a difference, override and overwrite, because now the natural code, right, is that she seeks a protector, and that code cannot be overwritten, but you can override it by filling the subconscious mind of a female with new code that here's what you need to pursue instead. And that new thing that they pursue creates frustration. And what's an example? Pursue the career, right? Look at the friend's uncle's wife. She pursued the career, she got the job, she's frustrated. Now she wants to be choked, right? So, yeah, yeah.
JBZ says, "Damn, look, Akash's wife. She's much worse, but it is to be expected from a weak husband."
Exactly, but here's the funny part. And it's funny and sad, you know? If you are a strong husband, she she is not gonna they don't want you to be socially, dynamically within the relationship to be a strong type of man. Because when you are a strong masculine man, you'll be called controlling, right? Because 9 out of 10, you do want to control. Like, listen, you ain't gonna go there. You're not gonna talk to so and so. Why not? Why not? Because they're gonna fill your mind with bull crap, and it's going to ruin this relationship. Oh, you're controlling. You're gonna say, I don't want you going out on to the club with the girls because it's not safe. Oh, you're controlling, right? And so you can't really win if you're just a simp like Akash, and you let her do whatever she wants. She's gonna walk all over your head. But if you are a real G, it won't last long either because she feels like you're controlling, like Aisha Curry, right? She feels like Steph Curry, in a way, is abusing her with financial leverage because he makes so much more money than me and I'm under him. In a way, they see this as abuse. And you're like, what? But that's an example of social overriding, not overwriting, you know? So,
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Haku says, now it's how much money do they have? Fair.
Not really.
Uh,
Bro,
yeah, I mean,
Steph
yeah,
Curry. I mean, look at Steph Curry, bro. 800 million.
yeah. That is. I think at the start, it's how much money do you have, like in the beginning of everything. But obviously, we have seen like the Aisha Currys and this guy Akash's wife, because apparently Akash is like
A millionaire.
spoiling her. Still not enough.
Yep. At all.
Still, still not enough. So Allah says, the Bible says that the wife should respect her husband.
She can't. She definitely can't do that. Indeed, it says that, but she can't do it. She does. The Bible doesn't even require the wife to love the man. Husbands, love your wives. Women, respect your husband. She can't do it. That's why I mentioned the Lois Lane thing, that she can't respect Clark. She can't be soft with him. She got to be all up in his face type thing. So it's a travesty.
Haku says, love equals respect is the only way to describe love.
Yeah, in theory, but at the end of the day, it's not happening, bro. You get people like, what's his name? Andrew Wilson. Do you know him, PS?
Yeah, he's that guy who's always debating women, right? Like
Yeah.
OnlyFans girls.
So he calls himself a Christian, but he's cussing people out like crazy, bro. Only to find out, right? He had a debate with Coach Greg Adams, and the topic was marriage is not good for men in today's society. And Coach Greg said it's not good because they're gonna take you to the cleaners. These women, they are only there for financial gain in the short term. Then they'll divorce you, put you on child support, and it's over for you. And uh, Andrew Wilson says, well, what we have to do is create an ecclesiastical marriage system that can be in the courts, in the legislation, and whatnot. And Coach Greg says that would be nice if it was possible, but because it's not possible to create a theocracy, right? We need to tell men that if you're gonna get married now, you most likely gonna get hit by a bus, right? When she gonna abandon you because she gotten what she needed from you, and now she gone. And Andrew Wilson was so used to debating these OnlyFans chicks, right, and calling them stupid, and they would submit to him. But Coach Greg didn't. He's like, nah, bro, look, this is not a solution because you're operating with a Christian code, but the world we live in isn't Christian, and the courts are not Christian. So it doesn't work. So you're actually telling men to take a risk over here, risk their hard-earned money and resources, so that they can be, abandoned at the last minute. So,
Like like Harvey Dent once said, we try to be decent men in indecent times.
yes, yes, yes. We try to be decent men in indecent times. Yeah, I remember that. That's why I am a villain now. I'm Thanos now, bro. Right? But not even in the traditional sense where I'm out there killing people and burning everything down. No. It's understanding that the society we're in right now, we gotta do what needs to be done. Instead of holding on to ethical codes that are exploited all the time. Because they know you'll always take the L, they'll exploit you. Because you feel so virtuous in taking the L all the time. You're like, oh, well, you are a better person than me, bro. Let me exploit you some more, type thing.
LeMay says the pastor always also says that if the woman's body belongs to her husband and vice versa, so if she withholds the body, it is a sin. Same for him. That pissed off a lot of people.
Imagine, and those people are people who say they are Christians. That's exactly what it says in First Corinthians chapter 7, bro. Like, do not withhold one another's bodies from each other. You have no right to your body. She has no right to her body. It's equal in that fact, right? But as I said earlier, these are the minor cracks that I started noticing, because it was like, what is Andrew Wilson's case when asked the question, how are you going to convince men's wives to keep sleeping with the men, with the husbands? And he said, social pressure, and we're going to tell the pastors to shame the women if they don't want to sleep with the husband. And that's ridiculous. But then the question one needed to ask is, why does she, over time, no longer want to sleep with the husband? Because I remember in high school, I thought it was a joke, bro, where you would see it in the movies, right? Where the guy would be like, yeah, man, it's my birthday and I'm about to get some booty. You know, my wife gonna bake me a cake and then she gonna give me her cake. We would see this in the movies, in the sitcoms, right? And then one day in high school, I think I was 15, it was sex education. This guy came in to teach us about things. And then he said, I, in passing, he was like, yeah, guys, so I know all about this, even though I don't, do it often. I only get it on my birthday and on Christmas. And then we all laughed. That's actually wrong. That's actually wrong. And that was a Catholic school that I went to. What do you mean
Damn.
your wife gives you the booty twice a year? Why does she
That's
do it?
crazy.
You know,
What the fuck?
bruh. But
Dude.
now we know why. Scientifically speaking, it's because if she treats her body as an exchange tool for safety, now that she's in the house, she has your resources and whatnot, right? She naturally feels like there's no need to give you anything, right? Now it's a bother. Like, okay, honey, give me the booty. It's like, oh, I'm tired. Oh, I got diarrhea. Oh, I can't do it, right? Excuses, excuses. And you're like, but what's going on? It's because she doesn't feel like there needs to be an exchange. Let's say she actually wanted to keep giving you, or she kept giving you. Eventually, she'll be like, why am I giving it to him? What is he doing for me lately? What am I exchanging my body for? In the mind of a guy, it's like, well, you in my house, I paid the bills, and you drive in the car I bought you. In her mind, it's like, well, I already have the car. The bills are already paid. What are you doing for me now? Type thing. So, bruh, it is insane when you realize it, that they actually don't do it on purpose. So when they don't do it on purpose, kind of hard to hold them accountable. Which is why, in general, when you try to hold them accountable, they just look at you with bewilderment, like, huh? Huh? What do you mean? What? You see? And then you look like the idiot. So, it's a damn shame.
Yeah. Um, E says men use love to get sex. Women use sex to get love. There are inherent values embedded into existence itself. Romanticized love doesn't convey the conditional laws inseparable from relationships.
Very nice theory over there. But I would say that was back then, you know, because if we strip love, unpack it, you say women give themselves for love and men give love for what? Read it again.
He says men use love to get sex.
Right.
Women use sex to get love.
Uh-huh. So let's replace love with resources and security.
Yeah,
Exactly. Because love is a euphemism for.
it is.
Exactly. When you know that it's a euphemism, you either gonna blow your brains out or you gonna feel free. You're no longer gonna feel guilty that she doesn't love me in the traditional Disney Channel type of way. It was never real, right? We have, look at how much money divorce courts are making and therapists are making, counselors, Valentine,
Yeah,
what, bro,
yep.
They are making so
Yeah.
much money from the dysfunction born from these social dynamics between man and female because we've all been trying to live this unrealistic lovey-dovey thing when in actuality it was just an exchange, right?
Like, so crazy. But yeah, nah, I got you. Haku says no sex till marriage.
Hey man, I feel sorry for you, bro. You know. And look, I was there. I waited. I was a heathen once, and I repented and became a Christian. I'm not a Christian no more, but I was celibate for 3 years, right? Right? And I waited to get married so I can jump in the sheets again. But I tell you this: if I did not have, you know, playtime with females as a heathen and not gotten sexual experience, it would have been a catastrophe, right? Because you're not going to find a virgin. Akash thought he found a virgin. Then she explains in her videos how she got blasted by 10 white dudes at the same time, how somebody went upside the butt, right? She woke up sore and everything. You would actually be looked down upon for your self castration. It can seem holy, admirable, and whatnot, but in reality is you are ill-equipping yourself to understand how sex actually is in reality in a relationship. You're trying to make it this holy like union and you present value to it in a certain way. That worked long time ago when the general consensus was that. But in reality, there are things such as sexual compatibility, you see. And I'm telling you now, if she has been with 3 guys, let's say she tells you I've never been with anyone, she's lying. Telling you now, she's lying, right? If she says I was with 5, she actually means 15. You are doomed, bro. I had a Christian girl weeks ago, an old friend from high school, right? We were talking, we linked up, we're not talking no more because she let me down. I'm like, woman, I ain't taking your ish no more. But anyway, she tells me that, hey, so I've been dating this guy for 3 years, and he wasn't a Christian. And this year, I finally decided to give him the cookie. I was a virgin all these years. I was waiting for marriage. And I decided to give it up to him this year. And I was like, okay, what made you give it up? And she's like, I don't know. I think it's because things were not going so well. And I thought by finally giving it to him, it would prove my loyalty to him in a way. It didn't. Then we find out that the guy was gay all along, right? She gave up the cookie to a gay dude, right? And I'm like, okay, that's a disaster. But how do you feel? Or how did it feel at the time? She's like, I was so filled with guilt that the Lord is not proud of me for doing such a thing. And then I was like, you and I know that the Lord will forgive you, right? We know this. And I'm sure when you did it with him, you knew that he would forgive you because years ago, you said you gave somebody a hand job and you were not upset or sad that God would look down upon you. You were more upset because how people would perceive you. You are more worried about what people think of you instead of what God thinks of you. That's what you told me at the time indirectly. And it's no different now, right? It's no different now. So this is somebody, a girl who was a Christian, who's still a Christian, who was a virgin, gave it up to a gay guy, who was not a gay guy who's not Christian, and she expects a real Christian man like the guy who wrote that comment, right? Expects you, bro, to be a virgin on the wedding night. Expects you, all right, to pay all the bills when she got a 9-to-5 job, right? And she's a lawyer. And I told her that, look, as you are right now, if a real Christian man knew that you gave it up to a gay guy, do you think he will take you seriously? And do you think you have the right to desire a true, honest, traditional Christian man? Do you think you have the right to desire that? And she said, yeah, I do. And I'm like, but you don't have the same value as a true Christian man because you're no longer a true Christian woman. So this is the reality that I would like y'all to know that, guys, these Christian women, they be giving up to gay dudes. And you coming in up in there and be like, our Father and out in heaven, thank you very much for giving me this blessed lady. She got blasted by a gay guy. Come on, man. Come on.
Black Swan says, why would a rich and powerful man get married if he obtains success before the relationship?
Exactly. It's something I even asked her. Why would a guy with options choose you? Like, you're not that hot, you know, like at all. And let's say if you were, you'd be the hottest girl here, not the hottest girl in the world, not the hottest girl in the country. So, a guy who can get the hottest in the world, why would he settle for you? Especially if you've been ran through already. That's the part they don't understand. And going back again to the fact that, let's say a rich guy does settle for somebody like that, right? Hottest girl in the village. She still has the same Aisha Kari mindset because, you know, it's just their nature. So when a rich guy knows their nature, why would he get married? You're like, no way. I ain't gonna do that. So
Yeah, Haku says the process, values, and traditions of love is primal and religious. But people these days are fighting against old values because they never got over high school with rebelling social norms. Another problem with romance manga is that these authors are protected from criticism because people defend these mistakes because it's not real, it's just a story. So that's why they never get better.
that's very true. That's very
Yeah,
true.
those are bars right there. Um, JBZ says, plus he's married with a wife who has two kids from different baby daddies, so that in itself is an L. I think it's talking about Andrew.
Yeah, that's a major L, bro. Like, that is not inspiring a call to action for men. Go and be responsible for a floozy who got ran through by two other dudes and left a bunch of kids in her lap. Why would any man who worked hard do that? And Andrew was married to a black woman prior to the woman he's married to now. And he cheated
Wait,
on, yeah, he cheated on the black woman with the woman he's with now. And he
what?
is a Christian. He's been a Christian all along. And I'm like,
That's crazy.
dude, it's nuts. Because I'm like, are there any real Christian representatives anymore in this social media space? And the answer is no. Because if you go to them churches, they're gonna make fun of you. The pastors like, you need to get married, you need to have jobs. It's like, dude, have you seen the economy? What's wrong with you, right? So it's crazy, bro.
That is, and JBZ says, the only way I can think of getting your women in line is to have them think they can be replaced. Possibility of having their castle taken away. Sounds messed up, but what other method is there?
Yeah, you are correct, but that's not sustainable. And usually, how
In
to achieve that is by being emotionally unavailable, because this makes her constantly question where is where is she in the relationship. She doesn't feel like she's put first. There's a type of cognitive dissonance happening where it's like, okay, I have all the bags and the nice things, but I still feel like I don't have him. You see? And if I don't feel like I have him, someone else probably has him. And that means I'm probably going to lose all the nice things down the line. You see. So that's not sustainable if you're a conscious guy like me. That method cannot work sustainably because you're the type who doesn't want to play these mind games. Some people can be like, yeah, you can manipulate them. You can't keep manipulating someone consciously. It's easier to manipulate somebody for eternity subconsciously, right? Because that's who you are and you don't have the awareness of your own nature. But when you do, you don't really want to do it because now it takes effort to keep doing that, you know?
Definitely not sustainable. Um, LeMay says, no fault divorce has always been a mistake, but that can of worms has been opened.
Yeah. Now, in the 1970s, when that was introduced, I think it was in the 70s, all the Christian women who were married to your grandfathers, they ran out of there, you know? Oh, I'm free. Screw this fat bastard who sacrificed so much for this family. They ran out of there, bro. Ran out, you know, and wanted to be a hippie, get blasted in the park, you know. So it was just a sad, sad thing. But that of course, was done on purpose, you know. But let's actually see the positive in this. The positive in this is that there are no more strings that have to be attached on us anymore. When, as guys, we now know the true nature of the world and of these women, you don't have to or commit, you know, to these strings anymore, right? Thinking you're doing the right thing. It was a scam. Is there anything wrong with committing to someone? It's wrong if you don't fully know why you're doing it. It's wrong if you're doing it because the consensus says it's wrong. But when you unravel the layers, there's no way you can say, yeah, I want to commit as my grandfather did, and then he got divorced because she could under the law. You see?
Yeah. Blood says, or better yet, scale 0 to 100% because you know it's very rare. I'm not sure what he's talking about, but I think he's talking about something we were talking about. And then LeMay says, wow. I think he's responding to what you were talking about with the girl having sex with the gay guy.
Yeah. I was flabbergasted, bro. Like, woman, what in the hell?
That's crazy. Haku says, are we still talking about romance in manga or romance in modern society?
It goes hand in hand. You know, we live in modern society, and understanding modern romance will help us write better types of romance in our books. Now, I, as a guy working at the bookstore, right, a lot of book talk videos, I mean books, promoted by TikTok called Book Talk. They are all romance, and they are these generic pieces of trash stories, right? The jock and the bro, it's so lame. Or the secretary working for the rich guy, yada yada yada. It's generic dribble. But these women come and buy them, even the teenagers, bro. Right? 12-year-olds. There was a 12-year-old who was going with a friend, and the friend was buying this sexual book by Anna Huang, right? She writes a lot of dark romance stuff. And I asked her, how old are you? And she's like, I'm 15. And I'm like, how old is she? And she's like, I'm 12. I'm like, you can't, both of you can't buy this book. And then the 12-year-old said, but I've read the whole series already.
What?
And I'm like, what the hell? It is over, right? They will shame men for watching corn all day, right? But literally, that's impossible. But a woman literally can read a corn book all day, right?
Yeah.
That is
I don't
promote,
see you, bro.
bruh. And they're not, a 12-year-old girl can read a corn book all day and be seen as, oh, look at her, she's so innocent, just reading her nice book. You know, the ignorant father. She reading her nice book. She ain't bothering nobody. You know, she got her marshmallows over there. That book got wildebeests tearing up a woman on the table. Bro, I'm like, nah, man, this just ain't right.
Yeah, at least that's licensed stuff, bro. They also be reading like fan fiction, bro. Oh, dude, that is
It's
like the surface of how deep this thing can go.
exactly.
I know a girl who also told me like by 13, 14, she was reading fan fictions of like shows or IPs that she liked and like R-rated versions of the fan fictions and stuff. Like, so yeah, bro. These are the future wives, man.
It's lights out, bro. These dudes won't last. They won't last.
LeMay says not every woman is going to get married. Some ladies are just gonna have to accept that.
Most women don't want to be married anymore, though.
Exactly.
Because look at like your uncle's friend. I mean, your friend's uncle. That woman, she's frustrated that she's married because marriage is he supports or he provides things for me to well be alive, right? But now she can provide all those things for herself. So most women don't want to be married. Like this Christian woman who got blasted by the gay guy, she said, I asked her, okay, look, she asked me for advice. What should I do? Right? I want to get married. I want a high level man and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, first things first. Do you know how to cook? She says, not at all. I'm like, woman, you're older than me. You're black as hell. You come from the Gasi, right? And you can't even cook pop at all. It was disgusting. And she kind of bragged about it. I'm like, listen, I know you and I went to a rich white man school, but this is unacceptable. You can't be bragging out here as a black African woman that you can't cook. Who do you think you are? Let's just start there, right? That already you are incapable of being a standard wife because you can't cook nothing. Obviously, you can clean, I'm sure, hopefully, but just that, it was a problem, right? And I told her what she needs to do. I was like, make your Instagram profile public again. But guess what? You're going to attract all sorts of hordes of different monsters and whatnot. But understand also that most guys will not want to commit to you because you say you're a Christian, but you don't dress like a Christian, right? They're going to see that tight body and that booty, and they're going to think that you're up for sale, not something to commit to. So there is, if you want to present yourself as somebody prepared for long-term relationship like marriage, you got to change your wardrobe. But aside from that, she also ended up saying that, you know what? If it doesn't happen for me, I guess God doesn't want me to be married. I'm like, there we go. That's the fundamental issue right there. They always use God as a shield for accountability. That it's not my fault that I can't cook. God just doesn't want me to be married because I need to go save hungry children in China. So it's nuts, bro.
Ah, yeah, yeah. Where was I? Where was I? LeMay says the only Christian influencer, Pastor Gino Jennings. I do not know who Pastor Gino Jennings is.
Now I know him. I used to watch him and I learned a lot from him, you know. And
Oh
that's the
yeah?
thing. Gino definitely his charisma, his knowledge. I learned Bible bending from him, really, you know. Um, but in the end, Gino, when you ask him practical questions or you wait for him to preach on the practicality on how to live your life today, he can't give you anything. He would just say, get a job because he owns real estate, right? And he brags about, me and my wife run real estate. I sell houses, I buy houses, yada 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 yada. He has no idea about the struggles of the modern day individual. He's still stuck in 1975 because it worked out for him it must mean that it can work out for everybody, or God will bless everybody as He has blessed me. But in reality, is no. You have to look at the generations, and you have to look at how the economy was, right? America right now just created a 50-year mortgage. Why? Because they see that most people are not buying houses anymore. They can't. So they drop the interest rate, right? So people can be excited to, like, hey, I can get a house now because the interest rate is low and the mortgage is over 50 years. You'll never own it, right? You'll never
Yeah,
own it, bro.
like
So that's the
the
thing.
moment you pay it off, you're like 87 or something.
Exactly. So you won't work till you die. And I bet you Gino would be like, well, a lot of people in the Bible will work until they die. I'm working till I die. I'm preaching. It's like, no, it's not the same, bro. You know it's not the same. So Gino is good, but that's what Christians need to understand. You need to look at reality at a practical sense. Because a lot of you live life waiting for something good to happen for you, right? In God's time, in God's plan. And then you get old, bro. And you wonder what the heck happened. Why didn't God bless me? You want to blame Him. Or you want to blame your dead grandmother that the curse is still active, as I did, you know. And then you will get people who would confirm your negative bias that, yeah, your grandmother's curse is still on you. I can see the dark force. That's what happened with me. They brought the weird pastors here who were spraying, flipping milk and salt and spice all over the house in the name of Jesus. I'm like, where is this in the Bible? Why are you spraying milk and salt all over the house, bro? You know, God said, no, He didn't say that. He did not say that at all. So y'all are just too afraid to drive your own life. You always want to say, let Jesus take the wheel. But if Jesus gave you common sense, why aren't you using it? Right? You're just going to make the excuse of like, nah, it's rather that I sit by and let Him do everything. Nah, bro, you're just too afraid to live your own life, actually.
Oh, that's the thing about common sense, man. It's not so common, huh?
Ah, damn. Yeah, it's not so common.
It reminds me of this story about this guy or woman, I'm not sure, but let's say it's a guy. And he's stuck in a village that is like, has a tornado or something, or a tsunami, I don't know. I forgot the logistics of the story, right? So a helicopter comes saving people, and this guy's like, nah,
Oh,
don't worry,
yeah,
bro.
that example, yeah.
Yeah, God's gonna save me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it reminds me of that, yeah.
It's so accurate, bro. So accurate.
Bruh, Black
People.
Swan says,
Oh, go ahead.
Cotton, when you get that 5 billion, are you going to get married?
Hell no. Well, I am married already. So what am I saying? But let's say I was single. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Honestly, because you don't have to. Unless you want like 15 kids, right? You want to raise an army of little nigglets running around. There is no need to do that, right? There is no need to do that at all.
Prenuptial agreement, bro.
Yeah, but that's always like overtaken or overrided. Yeah, it's overrided sometime after. Like Black Coffee's wife just sent him to the cleaners, even though he had a prenup.
Yeah, I think there's clauses in there, right? Like, if you abuse me or something, I'm still gonna take half of it, stuff like that.
But think about it, bro. If that in itself, in the old days, you got married with no intention of divorce, till death do you part. Now, just in case somebody cheats, I'm taking half your ish and this is what I want. That means it's a business transaction right here. Woman, you're not here because you love me, that you like me. You're just here to make a transaction. So you can take my kids and my cars, right? Because you have no need for me anymore. So, nah.
Sure. Bloodness says, I seen little girls reading Killing Stalking, and I 100% blame their parents for allowing that. Trust me, you don't wanna know what that webtoon is about.
Oh, it's a
Actually, it's a
webtoon.
webcomic. Killing Stalking. What is it about, bro? How can you say that and not expect? I'm already looking it up, dog. I already opened another tab.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna check it out after the stream for sure, my brother.
Oh, I wonder what
But
horrors are there.
dude, the last comment is from LeMay, and he says 50 years, even 30 years is impractical. 15 years, one quarter income, but people don't make that much.
No, they don't. They don't, man. It's all rigged. It's absolutely rigged, man. And these important things, looking at like the economy and so on, normal people don't look at it, right? They still pursue the lovey-dovey aesthetic and the white picket fence. And it's like, nigga, you can't afford the white picket fence, right? Woman, you can't afford it either. Then there's frustration. Like, why? I need it. I'm depressed because I can't get what was promised. It was a lie, lady. Okay? But I see other people on social media, they have it. They lying. Okay? So, what can you do, man? If you have to constantly fight with the person you're with in the house, how is that love, bro? You know, most black people here, man. I remember a long time ago in university, they said, yeah, you know what, Coffee? Somebody with your personality, you need a girl who's always gonna be yelling and complaining and rough. I'm like, why would you say that? Why do I need stress like that? It's like, no, it'll make you, it'll make you rah 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 rah. I'm like, I don't know what that means. So what you're saying is it'll make me toxic. And you see toxicity as normal, you damn niggas. So, nah, bruh.
Yeah,
Nah. But anyway, going back to now the manga in itself, the Guts and Casca thing. So, I I honestly think that the change that Casca had, it is a genuine change because of her nature. But if Guts knew that she now likes him because she can't get Griffith, would Guts like Casca? Would you, Pierce? Let's say there's a chick you found attractive, right? And she liked one of your homeboys. And your homeboys leaves town or finds some other chick. But you knew this chick liked your homeboy. And then she comes up to you. Are you going to be so joyful that, hooray, she has come to me because she sees me for what I am? Or would you realize that, woman, what? You coming to me because you couldn't get that guy? How would you feel?
nah, bro, shut that down, dude. Like, how does my homeboy feel about that? Is he also into the hussy?
No. Like he doesn't care, right? He's too busy with other
Yeah.
hussies.
Nah, man. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not usually a prideful person, but when it comes to romantic affairs or matters of the heart, I would love to be in a place where I am wanted organically, bro.
Organically. That's the key.
Yeah.
So in this, yeah, this then shows that Casca's affection for Guts is not organic from the guy's point of view. It's not, right? It's really not. That's why I don't actually like their relationship. I find it, circumstantial. It's a situationship type thing. And let's think about the first time they kissed. It was, when Guts came back and Casca wanted to kill herself and he saved her and she was vulnerable and defeated and her pride, ego shattered beyond belief, right? And remember what I said about when a woman is traumatized, she wants to get pregnant. You see? So just think about that, bro. You thinking this chick loves you, she wants you, man, yeah. She was just traumatized, bro. She just needed like a phallus nearby. And you were there, right? And you as the virgin guy that Guts was, because you're a man, you believe, hey, I'm sleeping with this girl. This is going to create a bond between us, right? A lot of red pill people will talk about pair bonding, that women are incapable of pair bonding now because they've been ran through. That's horse crap. There's no such thing as pair bonding. It's never existed. That is a construct used to reinforce the idea of our current situation, to remove the brutality of knowing and accepting human nature for what it is, that it's rather animalistic, right? It's also to soften the men who feel completely hopeless in this situation. So you think that you can bond with her because you went deep inside, right? You went in there, no protection, whatnot, and you unleashed a galactic gallon of man sauce up in there. And you're like, she belongs to me now because we made the ultimate bond. But that's not how it works, right? You were just a guy who was there, and she was traumatized and she needed to get pregnant. And you provided the sauce to create the pregnancy to take place. She don't care about you, you know? So,
JBZ says being second choice sucks. We'll have fun until the guy comes out from jail.
and she will wait for the guy in jail, bro. She will wait for him. But you will be, the placeholder until the guy comes out. And when he's out, it's like you never existed. So just think about that. Like woman, after all the bonding or the smashing, you don't care about me? You still care about Melvin? He's been in jail for 6 years. I love Melvin. Melvin is my day one. Like, yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. We have a comment from a guy, Ilvnart something. He says most times it's better to have the main character syndrome than have the NPC syndrome, where a person can just let others take the wheel because he isn't self-conscious and not self-actualized.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is accurate. Every human should strive for self-actualization, because that's when you are fully aware of yourself. You don't have the general awareness that I'm a human with hands and feet, but you have the awareness of your nature, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very important.
We ain't got no other comments?
Well, the last one is from Blood. He says, I can't wait for Tyrone to come out of jail, my boo.
Oh boy. And the first thing Tyrone's gonna do when he comes out of jail is go to the strip club. He ain't gonna run home and be like, Shaniqua, where are you, babe? I'm back. I survived them niggas in there. No, he going to the club. He gonna get all kinds of jigglies up in his face first. Then he gonna go to Shaniqua's house, find you there, shoot you. Like, nigga, what you doing up in here? And you died for nothing, right? So, see this Guts and Casca situation. It is sad because there are so many video essays that talk about the beauty of Guts and Casca's relationship. But now we have uncovered that it was idealism. That the multitude of people who saw the beauty in this is like, yeah, bro, you still psyoped in the head. Guts was traumatized. She wanted to get pregnant, right? Guts, what made Guts make the move? Because it was Guts who kissed Casca first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now the question, that also I find it rather out of character for Guts. Because not once did I see any attraction to Casca prior to that all of a sudden kiss. Never. I never saw him contemplating, never saw him look at her from afar.
admire her. Well, I've seen him admiring her as a warrior, right, in a way, but not admire her as a woman. The first time he saw her as a woman, he felt sorry for her because she was on a period. That, oh, it must be hard being a woman and all. Here she is bleeding out. She almost got me killed because she's bleeding out. Why is she here? She should be cooking dinner, right? So he felt sorry for her. So now, in terms of character consistency, it's like God's acted out of character. If we look at God's in the frame of him as a man and the nature of a man, it is that he took advantage, right? He took advantage because guys like vulnerable women, right? They like helpless women. They like the damsel in distress, right? So, but I don't want to look at it like that. I wanted to keep it based on the character of God. But if we do look at it from just the male nature aspect, yeah, he took advantage. Because I think I can go in here. Let me, you know what, let me just try. And there he got it. You know.
Demonic Ryu says they both had trauma. Trauma bonding is what their relationship was.
Excelente. God's trauma really helped them cut more people in half. You see, this this proves what I'm saying, that when a guy's traumatized, he wants to cut niggas in half. When women are traumatized, they want to jump on top of a dude, right? And so that trauma bond in that moment, it was good, you know, but I don't think it was executed very well in that very moment. I think when God saved Casca and she was all, you know, vulnerable and crying, I think, let's say maybe some hours should have went by. And Casca is now sleeping in the campfire. And God is cooking or, you know, making some fish. And he, in this moment of calm, there should have been reflections of what are we fighting for? What am I doing? Again, now he had just returned after, you know, getting some new resolve for what it means to be a warrior. But now knowing that Griffith was taken, he should have had a new self-examination and questioning himself, what are we fighting for? What do I want now? You know, looking at Casca while asking this question, right? And noticing her figure and be like, kid, you know, do I want a kid, or do I really want to keep killing? Or do I want to live? But if I do want to live, do I just want to live swinging my sword by taking other people's lives? Or do I want to give life? Right? And in that moment, Casca would still be traumatized, just looking away into the distance. And God's then, in his curiosity, what it means to live, what it means to be pro-life, he could have tried to test out this new idea of his by fondling Casca. And if she denied him, then he would be like, what was I thinking? I am better off just cutting people in half. But if she agrees that she wants to get impregnated, then it could be like, I guess there is another side to my existence. I don't have to take life, I can give life. You see, that would have been more better. Yeah. What do you think?
that would have been interesting. Bloodness says, "Coffee, are you planning to write a novel?"
Hell no, bro. I ain't writing no damn novel. I am not.
And then Ilv Art, dude, this guy's name is difficult to say. He says, yeah, situationships are doomed from the start because they only love each other because of the trauma bonding. The girl probably don't have much of a choice because boy is the only one who comforts her.
Because boys?
The guy is probably the only one who's comforting her.
Oh, yeah. He being used.
Yep, that's the last comment.
Now, romance, y'all, in manga and anime is not accurate. It's not accurate because we were all fed a warped idea of the relationships between man and female, right? If you want to believe that we are divine creatures, because think about it. It is puzzling that surely, man, we can't just be talking apes. There has to be some value to us, right? But then when you look at history, human behavior, look at your neighbor, bro. Look at him. Just look at him walk like that. Walking like a damn duck or a primate, right? That's a human? He has the same rights as you? Ain't no primate duck walking nigga who has the same value as me. So it's like, nah, you don't deserve the same rights I have, you primate, hunchback. No, you don't, right? So people like us, I've said this before, right? You have this level of an IQ, you are an anomaly. Where human consciousness comes from an evolutionary standpoint, I have no idea. But people have said we developed consciousness for the sake of survival, because the humanoid did not have natural defense mechanisms like teeth and claws and whatnot. That's still hard to believe, right? But the human consciousness, wherever it comes from, right? Obviously, it serves a will that is divine, I suppose. But this divinity, this divine force, is not good or bad. It just needs things to keep going as they are. That's why I'm saying when men get traumatized, they kill. When women get traumatized, they get pregnant. This is part of that will built in us outside of our free will. They keep victim blaming us in terms of free will, free will. No, you don't really have free will. You need to be like Buddha and me, right? Where when you reach nirvana, you can channel the will that possesses you. You can channel it. Instead of being consumed by your passions, your lusts, and so on, that then end up withering you away, you can channel those things into producing something. But most humans don't have the capacity to do that, right? So now when you know all of this, I think you can write more accurate stories. And I think in our generation right now, all the doctrines we grew up with, all the social studies that we grew up with of how things ought to be, they're falling apart now. And there was never a real replacement, right? Nietzsche said, look, if God is dead, who's going to replace him? God at the time, meaning, the general consensus that these are the values of an upright human. If we don't believe those values anymore, what's going to replace it? Nothing filled the vacuum. The power vacuum that the Christian God left behind, it can be filled, but not consciously. If you are aware that the Christian God is also a construct, right? You can't believe as you could if you were ignorant. You can't. And that's what happened to me. When I realized that there's nothing divine here, I could not believe anymore. And it felt disingenuous too, right? It felt like I'm a liar. And that means I would have to proclaim virtue even more. That's why these hunchbacks, they always want to display themselves as good people more than you, because they're actually the worst of people, right? So I'm saying that right now there is a moral vacuum in the world, and there is a vacuum of the human narrative. The Greeks said Zeus made everybody, right? The Romans said Jupiter made everybody. yada, yada, yada. Now, here comes Darwin. Nobody made anybody. You're like, wait a minute. What? So what's the new narrative, Darwin? I don't know. But it sure as heck ain't going to be the old one. So now, now we are responsible for creating our own narratives, right? And in doing that, well, most people end up being delusional, sure, because they hate reality that much and they have to live in delusion. But for those of us who can see reality and process it, we can create our own narratives, but it has to be rooted in what we see, not what we hope for, not what our grandfathers hoped for, in what is, right? In what is in the current. That's how you're going to tell a better love story. So if I was to tell a love story now, like putting it in bloody hell, right? I can't tell you without spoiling the whole thing. I mean, it would ruin everything if I told you now. But ultimately, it is the love that I am going to put is going to be like a love I wish existed. And I want to make that clear, right? It doesn't exist, but if I could make a wish, this is what it would look like. And I think that's more honest. And people don't have to be trapped by false ideas.
That's fair.
Yeah. They ain't gotta be trapped now. So beware, y'all. You wanna get married? You gonna see flames. When she don't need you. Oh, my tummy hurts. Oh, my hand hurts. I can't make the chicken. Oh, can you tuck Jimmy in? Like, woman, are you serious? Yeah, I'm serious. So it's not sustainable, man. It's not sustainable. Who's another example in a love story in manga? Aha! Midoriya. Man, spit some game on Midoriya, bro. Midoriya and Uraraka.
Bro, I didn't watch My Hero past season 4, bro. Like,
You didn't have to. Just based on what you saw.
uh, uh, they have romantic feelings for each other? Do they? I know the girl likes Midoriya. Does Midoriya like her? I don't know, man. I think you know more about My Hero than I do.
Yeah, but okay. Based on what I remember, when they first met, it was when they were going to the school, and I think Deku bumped into her, and then something dropped. Deku was the first to like her, just on a superficial thing, that she's so cute and friendly, right? And that was it. It was suggested to us that this is somebody he likes, just based on that one interaction. There were other girls in the classroom that he never really showed the same type of interest or care. And then Uraraka kind of started liking Deku because of how determined he was, right? She admired his determination to get better, right? But there was nothing beyond that. She would get jealous if Deku spent too much time maybe talking to another girl, or another girl fell on top of him. And that was about it. But an actual exchange of, some form of hints, direct hints amongst each other, I just never saw it, man.
Don't you think that would take away from the shonenness of the show if they focused on, like, what shonen do you think writes romance well?
Siren wrote romance very well, but it got canceled for whatever reason.
Sirens?
Siren.
Huh. Okay.
You don't remember? You never read Siren? I think I told you about it.
Yeah, you told me about it.
Okay. Siren, what else is another shonen example of decent romance? But it doesn't really matter that it's shonen, and so we need to write bullshit in terms of romance ideas. It doesn't have to be that way. That's just now an accepted standard because most authors are dweebs. They don't know how to write those romantic dynamics. It's not a law per se. There was in the Torishima book, Video Girl Ai is a romance manga, but shonen at the same time. And Torishima says, though this is a romantic book, it's still shonen because there is conflict, right? There's conflict in the framework of romance. So that's a big example. It just came out in the 90s.
In the 90s, like, my favorite, I like, have you seen, well, do Ghibli movies count? Because they're not really like a long-running show.
Oh, you can mention it.
Yeah, I think Howl's Moving Castle is a pretty good romance story.
Yeah, I don't even remember what happened in there. But you know what? It does not count. I changed my mind. It don't count at all.
Yeah, a lot of people think Full Metal Alchemist has a good relationship.
The thing is with that one, there was a suggestion that the ending would be like that. I don't remember them being direct with each other, honest with each other about their feelings for one another. It was just there, and you could just see it, and you just accepted it.
Yeah.
And
What about Vegeta and Bulma?
that was a situationship, right? Vegeta was busted after training, and Bulma helped him, saw his rippling muscles, and just fell on top of him, you know? And she got pregnant. So, in the end, if we were to assess, because she was dating Yamcha at the time, right? Why was she dating Yamcha? Well, Yamcha was around her age. Yamcha was a pretty strong human being. She definitely didn't like Krillin because maybe he's short, he has no nose, and Krillin's not really modern like that, right? So, Yamcha was the best one. Tien is not interested. He's a monk. And Goku was too young. So, she took what she could get, just like Casca. Then comes Vegeta, second strongest. And it's not because Vegeta's buff or anything that she got on top of him. It's because he's the second strongest, which goes back to the nature of the pursuit of safety. Yamcha being a bum, not really, he had a normal job, right? She's like, well, if Yamcha can't save me, I know Goku can save me, but Goku's got Chi-Chi. And he's too young anyway, right? So she's like, Yamcha can only protect me from other humans. And now here comes Vegeta, he's in my house, using my resources. But Vegeta can protect me from aliens like Frieza. So automatically, I'm going to jump on top of him. Right? Now, that's not romantic per se. It's just natural selection.
Natural selection. Okay, how about you tell me this then? What is a depiction of romance or love that you have seen? Not just in manga or anime, just in media, period. Like,
that is good, or that is a proper, accurate display of romance?
yeah, besides Nana, because when you mentioned Nana, you were speaking about her as a character and how her adolescence plays into the romantic stuff that she goes through. But really, it's just about her as a character, how she's maturing through the story, right? That's what I got from what you said.
Oh,
So,
okay, in any type of uh, media outlet, I would say the Tyler Perry movie, Acrimony. Acrimony
Oh,
is, you know it.
yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it.
Yeah. Now that one is absolutely perfect in capturing the reality of romance in the real world, right? For those who don't know, Acrimony is about a a woman in college falls in love with this guy, um, and it was superficial love, right? Falling in love. We've established what that means, and you know they get it on, and this guy's a genius. And aside from liking him superficially, she sees his determination to, do well, be successful. Finds out that he's poor and he's like on student loans or something like that, and he's really pushing hard. And then that guy cheats on her with some other girl. She crashes out, gets angry, and then he says, "I'll never cheat again." Then they get married, and the guy continues to work on his pet project, this battery that can make him a millionaire. And she becomes frustrated throughout the years that he's not getting a job. He keeps working on his project, saying the project is gonna make them rich, right? And it's been like 16 years, 20 years, he's still working on it, no job, and she is supporting him. And I understand in that case, her frustrations is very valid, right? 20 years, 16 years, bro, you don't even have a side hustle. You're still working on your project? Nah, right? That's like me not working on anything else, just working on the MANAA, right? It's ridiculous, right? So her frustrations were legitimate. But that showed the reality of this of romance, so-called romance, that you need to provide them resources so she can feel secure and unfrustrated, right? She has a job. She's strong and independent. She doesn't need you. But because she has you, she's waiting for you to be a billionaire so she doesn't have to do anything anymore, right? And people would say, yeah, she's committed, she loves him. That's not love. She's investing in him being a billionaire so she doesn't have to lift a finger anymore. How's that love? Because love is, he's a bum ass nigga eating all the cheese in the house and I love him anyway. Do you see? So, yeah, it really shows pretty darn well what quote unquote real love is. It's just coded with the word love, but you see the reality of what it really is, which is the exchange. You give me this and I give you that. Type thing.
What do you think about the second act of the movie then?
Where he now marries the other woman. Well, the I would say it's accurate as well. Her crashing out and killing everybody in the end is a bit much. Most people wouldn't really do that, but if we were to do a brain scan, we can say that she really believed she was owed. She was owed the fairy tale that she felt like the guy forced her to wait for. And now he's living the fairy tale with another woman. Even though she divorced him because he could not be successful in time. And he even said, "I'm sorry that I couldn't get successful in time. I made you wait so long. I'm sorry." That was rather sad. That's really sad.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Alright. You have a very cynical and bleak view of love then.
Why?
I don't know, like, that's your best interpretation of romance and love?
Well, based on everything we just went through, bro. Everything a nigga said. Love is a euphemism for exchange. What are you gonna give me? What am I gonna give you? A hunchback. I expect a hunchback to say that to me, because they refuse to accept the reality that love is a euphemism for just an exchange. You see, it's not bleak, it's not cynical, it's reality. People suffer because you are trying to make it what it's not. When you know what it is, well, you won't suffer. You'll just be disappointed. Oh man, they lied to me. But you won't be depressed anymore, bro. When the honeymoon phase ends, you're not gonna be like, what happened? You'll know that, oh, right. She now wants what I can't offer. We finally reached this point. So.
Indugu Gomezu says 20 years is a very long time. And for someone to stay believing that you will be something even after all that pain and hurt, is that not love?
No, because it was to get something out of it. It was
condition.
Yeah, it was a condition. You see, in the end, she did divorce him. Right? Now, if we look at, again, you use what we know best, the Christian framework of love, till death do you part. Not that I waited 35 years for you to be successful and you couldn't make it, so I'm leaving you. No. Right? Absolutely not. I would say the mistake with the churches is that maybe, not even maybe, it made us believe that both parties getting married can have an adult understanding of what they are getting themselves into. When in reality, clearly, they don't. It can be both sometimes, or majority the woman, right? I mean, some guys get married out of ignorance too, but in general is that they don't understand the magnitude of till death do you part. They don't understand that in sickness and in health, right? And if in sickness and in health, it means in poverty or riches also. So if this woman was with this guy waiting for him to be successful, that is not love. She was in love with the potential that this guy can provide for her benefit, right? Somebody once said, women don't see you, they see what you can offer them, right? And in a way, that kind of makes sense now. If you were to ask, I once asked a girl a long time ago, what do you like about me? And she said, I like that you're tall and light skinned. I'm like, no way. There's absolutely no way. You know, like, no way. There are tall, light skinned dudes running around all over the place. I'm not special like that. You see, what would make me special is not my exterior that I was just born with, right? There are taller dudes, there are lighter dudes. So I had no control over this. You should be telling me what you like based on the inside. What I do have control over, to some extent. She couldn't name one thing, right? So that right there shows me that, okay, this was a very primitive woman that I was dealing with. She saw the genetic. What in the hell? I am seeing a worm on my door. How the hell did it get in here? Anyway, yeah, this was a primal woman who saw that I'm going to have nice offspring if I can bag this nigga type thing, you see. I'm going to brag that look at my light-skinned babies. And I'm really not that light-skinned, you know. But anyway, that she was very primitive. And there are others who will be too ashamed to tell you why they like you. It's most likely because you got that money in the bank, right? So that's the thing. In this movie, this chick liked him first based on what she saw in the movie. Though he looked rather, ugly when he was younger. Looked like a damn dwarf nigga. But then she got to know him and see how determined he was. And I'll make an example. When I was in university, there was this girl that I ended up dating her, right? She knew that I was at the top of the class, right? She knew I could whoop everybody's ass in the class. She knew I was talented also, right? And she liked my company. I would go buy cookies at her place all the time. That sounds weird, but she legit used to sell cookies, right? So one day, the film crew, the TV crew comes to host an exhibition in my honor, right? Then she hears that, by the way, that dude, yeah, he just had a whole TV crew show up, and he was hosting everything. All of a sudden, she steals my manga books, so I have to go to her place. I go back to the classroom. I'm like, guys, where are my books? I mean, the exhibition is over. They be like, oh, that girl? Yeah, with the blue eyes, she took your stuff, bro. She said, go get it at her place. I'm like, she said that? Like, yeah, I guess she wants to talk to you about something. I'm like, okay. I go there. Everything is different all of a sudden, right? All of a sudden now, it didn't matter that I was smart in the class, whooping niggas' ass, whatever, right? Now, because she saw the film crew, she was now ready for commitment. She made the move. She made the move to make things official because now she saw the potential. She saw as a hard worker. It wasn't good enough. She saw that genetically I'm all right. She saw that, I'm rather popular. All these three things were not good enough until she saw the film crew, the TV crew, that this guy can actually bring in hordes of money. You see what I mean? So she fell in love with the idea and potential for me to be a millionaire. Why? After dating for a while, she told me she wanted 3 kids in a mansion. And I'm like, woman, do you know what country we live in? And where is she now? Gone. Gone, bro. So was that love? No. She gave up the cake 6,000 times a day, right? Like literally. Okay, that's impossible, but you know what I mean. She gave it up so often that I was shocked. That's like, what? I'm getting so much here. I'm overfed, but oh well, whatever. I'll take it. Why was this happening? It was happening because it was her way to guarantee, right, safety, that if I give him as much as I am right now, he'll never leave me and he will never want to look outside. I will have the resources that he will one day accumulate. But the problem with her is she wanted all those resources before we turned 25. And that was impossible. So she ended up leaving a dude to go to another guy who was 10 years older than me because he already had those resources. Was that love? No. Tell me, is that bleak? Tell me.
What?
Is that
What?
bleak, man?
No, it's not.
Yeah, you were the one saying, oh, it's cynical, oh man, why you being like this? Come on.
No, I wasn't. No, I was saying like your taste, bro. Your taste. Usually, when someone says like their best depiction of something, they usually go for like something that is literally out of the world, something that is unattainable, right? Like if you were to ask me, like, I would probably say like something that is so fantastical and whimsical. I like it because it's whimsical and not realistic at all. But you chose to go for the most realistic depiction.
Oh, but I
It's
thought
like
we were
it's not
talking
a
about.
depiction.
But I thought you were asking me that because, like, we are talking about something being realistic. Because
Yeah, no, I was just talking about like your personally, not like with the topic. That's why I said any form of media. something that resonates with you personally. But
Oh, okay,
if you pick
okay.
something that is inherently realistic, that like kind of diminishes my question because I'm asking so I can get your personal taste of a depiction of romance.
Oh, when you put it like that, okay, then
Exactly.
I should have given you a different example. Oh well,
Yeah,
when you
that's
put
why
it,
I said it's so cynical and like, you know, it's
Ah,
because
bro.
it's not fantastical at all.
oh, okay, when you put it like that, bruh, then it's obvious, man. The whole Disney Channel ish, bro. Like that. That's the one. That's amazing. The whole big wedding and the cake, and you go to the Bahamas for the
Yeah.
honeymoon thing. Yeah, that would be ideal. That would be nice. That's how
Yeah,
it's said.
because I'm asking you because you said you're gonna add romance and bloody hell, but it's gonna be the romance that you wish was true, which means
Oh
it's
yeah.
also fantastical, right? It's also whimsical. It's not realistic at all, but it's
Hmm.
something that you wished was realistic, but it's not. And it has value in that. It doesn't have to be realistic for it to be valuable.
Oh, okay. Now I'm gonna put that Disney Channel, bro.
Exact. That's what I was asking.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, no,
Um,
no, I understand. I understand. I understand. Let me read some comments here. They say, um, what about Future Diaries love depiction? Future Diary has a love depiction?
what the heck is Future Diaries?
It's this show. I watched it like so long ago, but I still remember it. Mirai Miki, that's what it's called in Japanese. It's about this girl who's like obsessed with this dumbass guy. Uh, and they have powers in that show. They have diaries, right? And apparently, some of them can see the future. Some of like they manipulate their diary into a reality.
Hmm.
So I don't know. It's more stalkerish, and the main character is kind of like a like he's so passive, bro. Like he's weak. He always has to get saved by the obsessive girl.
Oh,
It's like a mess, bro. It's a mess of a show, honestly.
he's a he's a sissy boy.
He's a sissy boy, bro, and he gets saved by this obsessed girl that's into him. And I don't even remember how the show ended or like the main plot. I just watched it a long time ago once, and I never watched it again.
Yeah, no guy wants to see that. Dude always needing help. Save me, my beloved. Help me. Like, nigga, come on, man.
Miraniki, bro. Oh my god. Ola says, "Oh, this topic has to do with the plot of Aurea, the waver of light and the life giver." Must truly love each other. Basically, the state of the world depends on their relationship. I've never watched that.
Hmm.
Don't know what that is. And then JPZ says, yep, transactional. If the woman gets a chance to extract your resource without giving any back, best believe she will take that chance in a heartbeat. Watch out for that. No simping.
Exactly.
Anthony says, that sounds like an adult that never grew out of her teenage phase.
Um, who?
I'm not sure if you're talking about acrimony or the girl that took your books.
And she was older than me too, but
Damn. I think Demonic is replying to the girl. He says she saw the potential and was fiending.
yeah, man, it's crazy.
Oh man. LeMay says pragmatist versus idealism. That is true. That is true. I think I'm more idealistic than
Yeah,
coffee.
that's why you're gonna be depressed, bro.
Now, I think I'm conscious enough to know if, like, the fact that I'm aware that I'm idealistic is
Yeah,
helpful to me.
yeah, it limits your
It,
uh, descent into madness and
yeah,
hopelessness. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But I definitely wish I was more pragmatic, pragmatic.
It takes time. Honestly, I wasn't always so pragmatic. I was also hopeful, romantic, I guess. and I got shown flames, bro. You see, you need to put your idealism to the test. Most people live and die without ever putting their idealism to the test, right? And then they will hide behind whatever force, like the Christian girl who got blasted by the gay guy. She hides behind God, saying, "If I don't get married, I guess God didn't want me to get married." This is an admission that you don't want to put your idealistic view of God giving you somebody to the test by actually presenting yourself accordingly and being approachable at that too. Because she even said that, yeah, sometimes when I'm chilling at the coffee shop, I guess I do seem like a bitch. And I'm like, what makes you think men want to talk to a bitch? Why don't you change your aura? Like, just be nice, be sweet. And then she's like, no, because other guys then want to take advantage. I'm like, what about the guys who don't? You now punishing guys who don't want to take advantage, guys whom you could have. You put this bitchy defense mechanism of yours, and it ends up ruining every chance you could ever get. So, go figure.
I understand that. I understand that. But do you think I have to put my ideologies to the test if I also believe in and understand pragmatism? Like, what if I am okay with believing two opposing ideologies at the same time and it doesn't take away from any of them?
Then you have cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, I know it's cognitive dissonance. But usually, cognitive dissonance applies when someone is not aware that they have two opposing beliefs and they contradict themselves all the time. Whereas I rationalize, well, I guess it is cognitive dissonance since I do rationalize, but I can see the value of both without subtracting from them. I like the fact that I'm idealistic, but I can notice when something is wrong. Like you said, I can stop myself because I'm self-aware.
The problem with being cognitively dissonant is that it limits how much force you can apply in your actions. You see, sometimes you can talk yourself out of something, or because of this dissonance, it just limits. It just limits the amount of force you can apply. Think of a car. A car needs both oil and water, right? In your case, well, as a human being, you need more of the other than the other. So, pragmatically, having this hopefulness makes you the type of person who will wait for things to be better before acting, instead of just acting and make things better. You see? So it limits you in a way, whether you see
But
it
you
or
see,
not.
that's the thing. That's the thing. I'm not hopeful.
Oh, so rather just say then you like idealism instead of saying I am idealistic, I am hopeful. It means you're not hopeful or idealistic. You just like it.
I do like it. I do like it.
Oh, okay. You like it. You're not idealistic. You just like idealism.
I do like idealism, and the problem is, like, I use a lot of idealistic beliefs in my writing.
But you're not idealistic.
Not to the extent that I wish I was.
Yeah, that means you're not. So, yeah, that isn't cognitive dissonance then. You just like it, so there's a difference there, which is fine, I guess.
Alright, okay then. Let me read the last few comments. Anart says, back then I didn't really get the hate on Titanic, but growing up I realized that Rose was really not that realistic. She still had a husband at that time and still haven't moved on. DiCaprio. I once read someone say that women like romances with cheating involved. They think cheating is romantic.
Yeah, I saw a clip about that as well. But here's the thing. Remember what I said, was it earlier or whatever? if she cheats on you, it's got nothing to do with it being romantic or
That's true.
her being attracted to the guy because he's taller. It's got to do with the feelings of safety. She no longer feels safe with you. So she offers her body to the other guy because by giving up her body, she believes the other guy will provide more security or a type of security that you can't give. And this is the frightening part because it means they're not conscious of this. They're not. You know, that's why I said they function more subconsciously, right?
Yeah.
And that's why Schopenhauer said they are vessels of nature. Yeah.
Ola says Aurea is the name of my webtoon. Coffee reviewed the first 2 chapters. Oh shit, I totally forgot about that. Bloodness says, Coffee, what do you think about Ichigo and Orihime? Many see it as very boring or not well executed. Many wanted Rukia and Ichigo. That's how we started the podcast, bro.
Yeah, man. I guess you're just gonna rewatch it, and we covered that already. You'll just get the rerun.
Yeah. Lindohuhle, this is the last one, says, best advice would be to date, but don't take it seriously. Then, yes, at least for a first timer, she cheats because she no longer feels safe with you or you can provide. I don't think Jeff Bezos would agree to that.
Jeff Bezos is being treated like a child right now by the woman he's with, right? The woman he's with is a 52-year-old or 55-year-old single mother of 3. That doesn't make any sense now, does it? You're Jeff Bezos. Top 5 rich guys in the world. Why are you with a 50-year-old single mother? And here's another thing. This woman that he's married to, she was married to other billionaires also. You see? So she cheated on the other billionaires because they were like, okay, she was like, you're worth 5 billion. Okay, I don't feel safe with you anymore. Then she went to another guy, you're worth 10 billion. Okay, I don't feel safe with you anymore. Jeff Bezos, you're worth 100 billion? Oh, I feel real safe with you. But now she's starting to act up on Jeff Bezos. Right?
Very, what's the word? Insatiable.
Exacto. So, guys, money ain't gonna save you, bro. Aisha Kari is the example. $800 million is not enough. It's not enough. Steve Harvey, same thing. Guy brought that woman in the house. He got $300 million in the bank. She cheated in his house on his bed with the security guard because she didn't feel safe.
Yeah, I think money is a distraction for sure.
It is the ultimate distraction.
It is a distraction, bro.
But you see,
But yeah, that's it.
a lot of red pill people, they use men's confusion about female nature and turn it into anger. You're angry with them, angry at their behavior because you are judging them how you would judge another man. Another man wouldn't behave this way. You think she's capable of thinking like a guy, acting like she's not. They're not the same. So now, that's why I'm saying, when you know all of this, right? Lindo Gutle said, it's best not to take dating seriously, at least as a first timer. The problem is, you need to know what type of guy you are first. And for me, the type of guy I was I wanted to take it seriously. I wanted to be real commitment and stuff like that. But over time, I learned that whether you want to be serious or not, you must not be serious. You must not be serious. If you do, she will stab you in the heart when you least expect it, right? Because why do they do that? When they, just like Samson, when Samson was asked, what is the secret of your power? He kept lying and she kept complaining about it. You would think Samson would be like, woman, are you trying to get me killed? But hey, let's just take it as a little story. right, is that she didn't feel safe with Samson unless she knew the secrets to his power. So that if she knew the secrets of his power, she could control Samson.
Yeah,
But as soon as she controls Samson, she's no longer attracted to him. And if she's not attracted to him, she cannot feel safe with him. So she's going to sell him under the bus. And the Philistines came in. Right?
crazy
So,
cycle.
bruh, it's nuts. Now, people will say religion demonizes women and whatnot. It does demonize them in a moral sense. But when you look at it again from a biological, psychological point of view, morality has nothing to do with it. It's just their nature. That's why dudes in the old days, they treated them the way they did. Because they're like, we are not going to spend energy trying to understand these people because we don't have the funds to create therapies around the city, right? Counselors around the city. We are constantly at war. Put them in the kitchen. Now there is no war, right? And now there's a budget to understand them, but they don't understand them because they're trying to understand them how you understand a man. And then they create counselors and therapy sessions and millions of dollars worth of big pharma pills that makes them even more crazy. But the truth of the matter is, they're not crazy. They're not bad. They're just not like us, right? And for you to exercise control in a relationship, you get demonized as, well, possessive, toxic, and so on. So what's the best thing to do? That's why I'm saying you got to know what type of guy you are and understand what you need from a female. Be honest with yourself. I'm going to tell y'all, do not get married just because you want to get laid. That's not going to work out for you, right? That's not going to work out because she will end up restricting the booty. Once she feels like she's comfortable enough and she doesn't have to impress you to stay in the house, she'll naturally stop giving it to you freely. You're not going to have to argue. You're not going to have to remind her that it's my house, right? So that's my booty. You know, it's going to be toxic, right? And you don't want that. You're going to be so confused. Like, why? Pastor, she changed on me. You know, we used to have fun all the time and climb the rooftop and do it there. But now she's unbothered. She's tired. She doesn't even dress nice in the house. I don't know what happened. Is the devil in her? Don't worry, son. We'll have a prayer and it should be okay. That's it. That's the end of the matter. You keep pressing the pastor about the situation, they'll see you as the problem. They'll say, you are too thirsty. You can't always want to sleep with your wife, bro. What's wrong with you? That's unholy. Right? That is just nuts. Why do you want to smash your wife so much? Like, Jesus wouldn't do that. He would be out there preaching in the block, right? On the block. And all you can think about is that round woman's butt called your wife. No, you have no right to this. But what the Bible says the exact opposite. You have full right to it. She has no right to her own body if you need it. But the pastor ain't gonna say that, right? So everybody, do not, right, restrict yourself to the point where you feel like you're gonna pop. And this is not me promoting debauchery either, because I'm telling you now, if you think smashing 400 hoes is gonna get you a peace of mind, it's not. It's not, man. You're just gonna end up being really frustrated because you're not finding what you thought you would find. And it would be a sad day when you get married and you jump on top of her and it's like jumping into the flipping Grand Canyon because everybody was in there, right? It's gonna be a disaster, right? So y'all know what type of guy you are and what you need and how much you need. There are dudes who need it like 3 times a day. Dudes who need it 3 times a year. It depends what type of person you are. Y'all gotta figure it out. Don't commit to something that isn't sustainable. Because when you get a divorce, you'll be ran through, bro. It's gonna wreck you, man. So that's it, right? There's nothing left.
Nah, there's this one guy. JVZ says also Tom Brady. Man, look at Jezebel and Jihab. Perfect example of a weak man and an insufferable harlot. Dude, the word harlot, I like it so much. It's so funny. Harlot, she was the ruler once. She had leverage and power over her husband. Nothing but destruction when she was in charge.
Exactly.
Oh man. But yeah, that's the last one.
Exactly. Tom Brady, bro, high level athlete, like
Dude.
the king of football, NFL, you know, tall, chiseled, all of that. A mansion, 10 cars, not good enough. She didn't feel
Not
safe
good.
anymore, bro.
Had the He was high in in money, high in the social status, high in his field, high in everything.
High in genetics, high in, bro,
High in genetics, bro.
he
High
was
in
a
talent,
specimen.
bro.
A flipping specimen, bro. And
Yeah.
yeah, she don't feel safe with him. So she had to control the assets. Steven Crowder, same thing. If you guys know Steven Crowder, conservative influencer in a way. His wife threw him under the bus also. She didn't feel safe with him. She even released footage when they had somewhat of an argument where he asked her to go walk the dog or go pick up some pizza. And she was like, I'm not going to do that. You're being controlling. I'm pregnant. And he's like, listen, I paid for everything. Every single thing you see here. Right? And I'm asking you just this one. Can you go walk the dog or pick up the pizza? Right? And it was an argument. She didn't want to do it. And she was pregnant at the time. We can say it's postpartum. No, that's bullshit. Because at this point, there are numerous excuses for bad female behavior, and we give it a condition. Oh, it's postpartum. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's whatever. No, this is dishonest. It is to make all men to continuously take an L, to continuously be humiliated, continuously be unable to express your masculinity. When Crowder says, walk the dog, that's all I'm asking you. You don't cook, you don't clean. We have 6 Mexicans in the house doing all of that. Right? Why don't you want to walk the dog? You're being controlling. Stop yelling at me. What? You know, guys have taken the L for too long. And I'm out here giving that caffeine of life. Not just in the context of us producing quality stories and comics, but in your own life as a guy. Because you got one chance to live it right. One chance. Right? And if we want to sit around and be policed by other simp baby hunchback niggas, like, oh, you're toxic, you're weird. Those guys are eunuchs, bro. There's a reason why a eunuch in the ancient times, in Egypt or whatever, were always in the emperor's quarters, where the women were, the hot women were. Because there were no threat, right? So they would be elevated right next to some oily woman, butt naked right there, and all he could do is just stare, not act, not blink, nothing. He couldn't even get a hard on because there's nothing there. These people who are trying to police me, police other dudes like me, they've been castrated as well. The simp is the modern day eunuch. And we need to listen to guys who have their testicles cut off? You're joking, bro. Like legit, you're joking. No way, bro. No way. So live, people. Live your life. Don't take no crap from these hunchbacks. If you're gonna be involved in some romance, understand that it's temporary, bro. She will feel unsafe and leave you.
Learn from your predecessors.
Exactly. Anyway, how long was that? I think it was 3 hours, right?
You mean the stream?
Yeah.
Yeah, it says. Yeah, it does say over 3 hours.
Yeah, this was educational as hell. Probably like busted people's brains open as to like, what is this nigga talking about? But you know I'm right. You know I'm right, bro. There's a time your mom didn't feel safe with you in the house. All right. So, and what did she try to do? She sent you out on errands too much. Or she said you're yelling at her, but you're not. It's just your voice is deep now. Right? Subtly trying to castrate you, cut away your manhood somehow, so that she can forever have control over you. And some dudes have such bad experiences with their mothers that they have to run away from home. You see?
Yeah.
But the mom, you know, is always elevated. Oh, mothers, they are the greatest gift of the universe. Yet they are the first to kill their children. Literally before they are born or after by being toxic. You know? So look at all this, man. It's jacked up, you know?
From the start.
Yeah.
From the start.
Yeah. But anyway, y'all, that's it for today. Guts took an L with Casca. Damn shame. Naruto's miserable, marrying Hinata. And Ichigo always seems happy. You know, in the latest like wallpapers after being with Orihime, he always looks happy. He always looks chilled and calm. That's nice. It's idealistic because in reality that's never going to happen. But it is nice, you know, to see that. Oh yeah, man, I'm happy for you, Ichigo. Yeah, it's nice to see. Naruto miserable, dying at the Hokage desk. He just tired, bro. He just tired. So yeah, I do like the Bleach romance better, I guess, because it is more fantastical. So that's it then. No more comments? All done?
I have a few that just logged. Anthony says, it's pretty sad that prenups are always necessary in marriage nowadays. And then Demonic says, yeah, but why is that?
Exactly.
Bloodness says, Echo and Jinx was a good one. Sad to see a tragic romance.
Echo and Jinx?
Yeah, from Arcane.
Oh. Jinx was romantically involved with Echo, the black guy?
Yeah.
They had a thing?
Yeah, they did.
I couldn't take it seriously. It just felt false, like typical nigga, typical schizo white woman. You know, I couldn't take it seriously, man. That whole thing felt like propaganda, so sorry.
JVZ says, smart thing Tom Brady did was all his assets were under his mom's name. She couldn't take anything. That's a win.
You see, did Tom Brady... Okay, I don't know if Tom Brady was always that intelligent. Maybe the lawyer advised him like 5 years after the marriage. But that proves that there is no such thing as love. Because if he suspected...
He's so creative.
Exactly.
He jumped through so many hoops. That's crazy.
You know, if you suspect that she will screw you after some time, then you know she don't love you. And you know you don't love her. Or you can't love her. Most guys, we want to love. But then you realize that you can't and you shouldn't. Because if you do, she'll smell it, jump on top of your head, and then be like, you're boring now.
Yeah, his instinct was right on that one.
Imagine, bro.
Black Swan says, what about marriage to older women? Do you think they have the same delusion? Well, they have the same delusional demands, or they change?
They don't. There is an older woman I spoke to once. We had a thing, and I told her something I didn't like about her, and I said, you know what? I don't like how you react in anger to things I say that you might not like. As a woman, you need to react in softness, so soft that it makes me reflect upon myself if I said something wrong. I had to teach her, she's 4 years older than me, right? I had to teach her how to be soft, how to be feminine, that your job is to reflect my nature in a positive way or a negative way. If I do something negative, reflect the negative that I've done upon you, by mirroring it back, not in the same rage, like, yeah, nigga, whatever. No, but just in calmness and say, hey, that hurt my feelings, something like that. Or you can use nonverbal cues to show that you don't appreciate what was said. And you know what she said? Instead of saying, oh, I didn't think about that, she said, never in my life has anyone ever told me that they have a thing that they don't like about me. And I was shocked that, wait, there's no man that's ever told her that, woman, this behavior is unacceptable here. So now we're in a situation where older women have lived longer in delusion. And there have been more guys allowing her delusion to thrive. And I ended up telling this woman, that this is why men lie. We lie because you cannot accept the truth, right? You force us to lie. Because when we are honest with you, you react negatively to the honesty, or you see us as lesser than. So you force us to lie, right? Did she fully comprehend it? Of course not. So even if it was a woman, let's say she's like 42, right? No, you're definitely not going to get an easier time there, right? Unless she's very much so about, or your hobbies or business interests are aligned. But guys don't get married to women because you have an alignment in business interests or hobbies. You get married for softness, squishiness, and good times. So, yeah, unfortunately, even the older women are not good for long-term commitment. You know?
Rookie Rock Salad is the last one. He says, tough.
Yeah, tough, bro.
And then Young Wavy just dropped a comment saying, excellent cover.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's tough out here. But we'll be fine. This is the caffeine that sets people free. Do it at your own risk, bro. She'll be unsafe in the end, and, say bye-bye. If she cheats on you, hey, she didn't do it on purpose. She just felt unsafe, bro. Right? I'm not defending the behavior. It's just when you know this, that, hey, they live subconsciously, you can't be mad. And if you know this, then I can't take these people seriously. I can't. But it is disappointing. I get it, Oh, well. That's it for now, y'all. I'm going to end the stream.